I always have the music. Wait, did I freeze or am I good?
You're good.
Oh.
Yeah, you're fine.
Got it. Just making sure I'm okay. This is terrible tonight. It's all my fault. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of Lemachamp or how late you are to your own podcast. Whether you're SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate, as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussion, tips, tricks, news and notes in the world of amateur endurance racing, and whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough and Aaron gives us just a tip, we're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is not Chris.
This certainly isn't Chrissy.
Well, I am Jeff.
And I'm mental.
And we are Everyone Racers. Thanks for coming back and listening to another Swayze episode of our podcast. It is 1:52, recorded on August 19th, the day after Patrick Swayze's birthday. Hey, Mental, Swayze be with you.
Swayze be with you.
He would have been 68 today. So if you're not driving the car, grab that bingo card and may the Swayze be with you and the odds ever be in your favor. Bingo card link in the show notes. Mental, other than waiting for me to show up, what are you working on?
So, all right. So what? Yeah, normally I'm not this quick. I have been trying to expand my fitness program because running does take a lot of time. So I wanted to get used to the idea of 2 days a week riding my bicycle to work. So I had to bring the RV home to do some work, and I went to ride the bicycle back to the base to get my car. And what should be just right about an hour trip turned into the 2-hour creptacular, the most wonderful endurance style bicycle ride. So 30 minutes into it, the rear cartridge, the gears disintegrates, just completely explodes on the back.
I was going to say either you got hit by a car or your bike broke.
Yeah, the bike broke. So I get it. I knowing that I had bought a used bike and I was already tempting fate, I had brought 2 small crescent wrenches with me. That was the entirety of my tools. So I get the whole thing back together and I tighten the cartridge up by hand as much as I could. It lasts exactly 30 more minutes and falls apart again. So I've got to rebuild it. It is a 12-mile ride. I had to rebuild this cartridge twice on there, and it took me almost 2 hours. Not to be deterred, I threw this bicycle, got it back to the garage, got everything tightened up and built properly, and then threw it in the car, drove it to work yesterday to ride home. Left my car at work. Bicycling home from work, flat tire. Unrepairable. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, so
not so bad.
Undeterred, I will try again tomorrow.
I like riding my bike as a workout, and if you ever see me like during all this COVID time, I did not grow a COVID beard because, and this is for the YouTube listeners, because right there, no beard will grow because I was riding a used bike. And the pedal broke at about 500 miles an hour. I went over the handlebars and drug my face on the pavement. So this is as luscious as it gets. Anyway, is that all you got?
That's all I got. Well, and well, you know what? Hey, we could do this because I actually reconfigured my sim rig a couple of days ago. Bought a nice stand for my monitor. So now I can get those off my work desk. And that repositioned the sim, which caused me all kinds of problems on Monday with being heard. But, we'll talk about the E1R Monday Night Race League here in a bit.
Yeah, cool. Should I go?
You should.
We're gonna skip Chris and Chrissy. Write that down. If you have skipped Chrissy on your bingo card, officially, you can check it off. So we are 1 weekend away from race. And as always, the weekend after race, I do all of the yard work on the planet because my grass in front yard and backyard looks like Jumanji when you let it go for 2 weeks and it rains a lot. So I was mowing and clipping, and the pool turned gray. I basically spent an entire weekend on everything that's outside my house. And I also took the day off today, which is why I completely forgot that it was podcast day and showed up to my own podcast 40 minutes late. Thank you for waiting for me. I would have ditched me.
We couldn't because I don't have permissions to record.
No. Well, you could have done it on Skype. Could have switched to Skype. Anyway, so I took the day off and I did floors all day. So if you hear me sniffing and blowing my nose, it's because I have been hard at work on the table saw pretty much all day. So, but it looks great, and I ran out of floor wood, so I guess I'm done for a little while.
You don't have any wood.
Exactly. Oh, well. Yeah. So Chris and Chrissy are not here. We mentioned that. Where are they going? They're going to New England somewhere to like hike.
They're going hiking. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
They're getting away from it all.
Yeah. Good for them. So Mental and I would be a terrible show. All we talk about is Teslas and Porsches. So we brought in some guests. With us tonight is the very accomplished crew of the most successful car in the history of Three Pedal Mafia. Where do we start? Do we start with the wrench? Or let's start with the wrench. With us, Wartburger thief, cancer ass kisser, Aaron.
Kicker. There's a little bit of a difference in the.
Didn't I say kicker? I'm sorry. I meant to say kicker. I'm still sniffing. Hey, Aaron, what are you working on?
Glue.
As little as possible, like you mentioned, on the wrench. And that's what I do for a living. So I'm working on everybody else's crap 8 to 5, Monday to Friday. So as little as possible. That's about it.
Just to understand a little bit more about you, what kind of derelicts are in your fleet? And
my fleet.
How many Panthers do you currently have?
I have one. I'm on my second Panther. It's a 97 Grand Marquis. I call it the Granny Marquis. Canvas top, the whole 9, big chrome hubcaps. And other than that, that pretty much sits now that I've got my 04 Toyota Sequoia. Because
what happened to the green one?
Toyota is life.
I thought you had 2 of them.
I gave the green one away to somebody that was going to come racing lemons.
Oh.
And they wound up buying a roundy rounder instead.
I thought for sure you'd have at least
raced
2 or 3 Panthers hanging around your house.
Unfortunately, I live in an apartment complex. I can't keep all that stuff. I do have vehicles stashed at other people's houses. My motorcycle's sitting at a buddy's house. You know, my other one was sitting at his house for a little while. I had the 250,000-mile WRX sitting at work for a little bit, but I had to thin the herd for a little while.
I get it. Thin in the herd. Someday I'll try it, but I definitely understand it. Well, since you're not wrenching on anything, maybe Dave's wrenching on stuff. Dave, Uncle Dave, car Cressida, cat. I don't know. Explain who you are. I was gonna say captain, owner. I don't know what you are.
Owner, knucklehead, dumbass, idiot for buying it. No. What have I been working on? This weekend was small engine repair for me. Bobbin's generator crapped out, or actually wouldn't start during that last storm, whatever its name was, and needed a carburetor. So we finally got that in, and I worked on that. And then there was fixing the lawnmower, something you know nothing of, Jeff.
I am the small engine Mangala, man. They are all experiments to death in my book.
Yeah. And then other than that, today my video card showed up, so I was putting that in shortly before we started waiting for you, and that's pretty much it.
Are we looking at you on the gaming computer?
Yes.
Ah, very nice, very nice. All right, out of all of my brothers, this one is my favorite.
Yeah, I'm trying to get off that list.
Jim, what are you working on?
Other than my D&D campaign, moving stuff over to my to my new office. That's why there's blank shelves behind my head. My game collection is migrating over there, and I find myself newly used car shopping for my older son. So
got a 97 Grand Marquis.
You know, you can't go wrong with a Grand Marquis.
The tank.
Yeah.
Run forever.
I was going to say, let's see, is it reliable?
And it'll keep you from being a grandfather for at least a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is the average Panther reliable? Yes. Is it safe? Yes. Is it cheap to maintain? Except for the gas? Yes.
He needs fuel efficiency, unfortunately.
Fortunately,
I don't know.
Well, now's the time that we usually go on to news and notes. Metal, you got anything?
I do, actually. So you guys remember last September when a whole boatload, and incidentally, that's not a euphemism, an actual ship, an entire ship containing nothing but Hyundais, caught fire and rolled off the coast of Georgia? Yeah, it's been a year. It's still there. It's actually like they've got people posting vacation pics on there. A piece from Eric Marquise on Jalopnik explains the reason, and you've already guessed it. It's the Rona. The Rona has kept the ship out there. The problem is once they start cutting up the MV Golden Ray, they can't stop. So hurricanes, pandemics, all that stuff throws a wrench into that process. So now you've got these post-apocalyptic Japanese anime style vacation photos of people doing selfies on the beach with a shipwreck in the background for the last year off the coast of Georgia down near Savannah. But it's actually a really interesting article. You'll learn a lot about salvage operations, and the link is in our show notes.
Very nice. Very nice.
Any of those cars for sale? My son needs one.
No, as a matter of fact, when the Mazda ship turned over, there was a lot of stuff that people wanted out of it because it had Mazdas and Mitsubishis, and there were like all kinds of Evos in it that people were like, "Give me, I'll turn it into a race car," and they wouldn't let them out. They crushed them all.
Yeah, I imagine that they don't want the liability.
Yeah, even ones that didn't seem to be like underneath the water, they crushed them all.
Yeah, but they sit out there in the ocean and in all that salt water and salt air. It's probably not a good thing.
Yeah. I put this in news because it's not actually our kind of races, but it is a race report. NASCAR held like 4 races in the same weekend on the Daytona road course. Yeah, almost the same exact track as the 24 hours at Daytona. They had a second smaller chicane that they added. But better yet, and this is why I tuned in, and I did tune in and watch every second of it. Every single driver for every single one of the 4 races could only do one event. And because of the global pandemic, there was no testing time and no qualifying. They just qualified in order of points. So the very first lap of every single race was the very first time any of those drivers had those cars on those courses in a stock car. The Xfinity race, the lower the series, Dave, Aaron, I know you guys, did you watch it?
I just saw the highlights.
It was a total shit show.
It was a shit show.
That first turn was hilarious.
Yeah, the Xfinity guys just didn't. They said, "Oh, I could go fast."
They're all trying to get a ticket to the show. So, the thing about the lower classes is you have to win. In the upper classes, winning has nothing to do with your paycheck. What it has to do is whether or not sponsors want to be a part of you. So
absolutely.
Right. There's guys that get paid more to finish in last, and some guys, get paid
Absolutely.
to win.
Yeah.
So
my employer's getting good press for their lots of exposure.
I
for
forgot
their
you worked for
sponsorship.
Xfinity. Yeah, whatever. I didn't actually watch the Xfinity. I only saw the highlights, but I did watch the Cup. The Cup race was great. It actually was some good racing. They took their time. They from what we hear, all of the top drivers basically texted each other and said, we're not going to look like jerk-offs, so let's just take our time on lap 1. And that's what happened, and they looked great. It was good competition, almost yellow-free, at least incident yellow-free. There was a couple here and there, but nothing huge. Mental, you got something on this?
Well, they did have the red flag, but I was watching the first couple of laps, and I've run Daytona twice with Champ Car. And in the road course, not so much turn 1, but turn 3, 4, and then is the ones where you right before you exit back onto the main straightaway. I went faster through those corners in a 20-year-old Honda Accord than those Cup cars were coming out of that.
Yeah. They took their time in the beginning. They got faster. I will say.
But
I
also,
don't know
that is we've all run in our Monday Night League. We've run that road course, and that the turn to the right before you go back onto the banked oval, which is turn 1.
It's a little sketchy.
Yeah,
and,
it's tight.
they were all just, those cars aren't meant to do that. They were slowing down to 40 miles an hour.
Yep.
They're 3,400-pound sleds with brakes that really aren't quite cut out for it. So
No. Those brakes are made to haul you from 200 to 150 in a manner of,
Milliseconds.
Yeah, a track meet. They are not meant to wall you around.
From
miles an
90
hour.
to 30 is not what they're designed for.
Yeah.
I have to say the press has been excellent. So they're talking about maybe putting it on each time. Dave, you got something?
Well, I was just going to say, the iRacing had updated the Daytona track a few weeks ago when they found out about this
Extra chicane.
That extra chicane, and a lot of the NASCAR drivers were using it to get as much practice as they could.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. If they go to road courses more often and they get rid of the frickin' competition caution, which I still don't understand, and it still drives me insane when I'm watching it. I literally want to turn off the race every time there's a competition caution. I would watch a lot more NASCAR if they did a lot more road courses.
Well,
the only time I watch NASCAR's road courses is short track. So.
And I think in that one, you really started to see, because if you ever have the opportunity, and I know, Jeff, you've been trying to go for years, go down to the Rolex 24. If you go down there and you get that Grassroots Motorsports golden ticket, you'll literally bump into NASCAR guys on their way to the car.
Yeah, and a lot of the lead guys who were on the race were actually at the 24 or have done the 24.
Exactly. So completely different cars, no active aero at, that you see out of the IMSA, the open top stuff, but certainly at least they were familiar with the nuances of the pavement and the course, and this turn's going to kick this way and this turn's going to kick that way. And the bus stop was hysterical. Watching them force through the bus stop, I giggled every time, because they were Miata-ing it through that. They were
absolutely. There's a lot less grass in the apexes. This isn't in the show notes, but I wanted to mention of it because I'm a Nissan Titan guy, or at least I bought one and I own one. The Nissan Titan is being removed from the Canadian market. I was going to say they're still making them. They're still going to make them in America, but this doesn't bode well for Nissan or the life of the Titan. Canada is obviously a big truck market, and they don't sell a whole lot up there. So who knows if the Titan's going to stay in the U.S. or not. Nissan claims it is, but we all know that Nissan might shut its doors like any minute now. So link in the show notes. They're basically saying that it had currently in America, it's 1.2% market share with 12,000 units sold, which is down from 31,000 units sold in the U.S. market base. So I don't know how long it's going to be.
Ford
around.
sold 31,000 F-150s while we were doing this show.
Yeah, exactly. So
might have something to do with the small gas tank they put in them.
Yeah. F's in chat. F's in chat for the Canadian Titan.
A's in chat.
A's in chat, yeah. Upcoming races. Anything upcoming?
There's actually nothing. This has been a busy month, and October is looking to be busy, or rather September is looking to be busy again, but right now we're good. We got there's not a whole lot going on.
Cool. Recent results, we talked about it last week. I've been talking about it all week. I watched all weekend. Lucky Dog ran the Who Let the Dogs Out at Charlotte Motor Speedway on the do they call that the Roval? I don't know.
They do.
Charlotte Roval. Loose Cannon Racing they had 3 days of racing, and it was kind of weird because Saturday it was nice and short, but then Sunday they ran like 10 hours from noon to 10 p.m.
Friday they partnered with Jzilla Track Days, and they'd gotten a track day on it. So and that all counted, which was nice because it gave everyone kind of a chance. If you've never run Charlotte, it's a good track. It's a very technical track, but if you get out of shape, you're in a little bit of trouble, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah. So race 1 was Loose Cannon Racing, followed by the Baltimoreans, and third was Apocalyptic Racing. Lots of Lemons people were down in there racing. Race 2, the long one, this was the Sunday 10-hour, was Loose Cannon again, but they were running the Superdog class, so you don't actually get to win, I guess. That was some kind of Porsche, wasn't it? Some kind of, I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
Some sort of 911 GT3-ish thing.
No, I think you confused that with AR, but
no, I think it wasn't it?
Oh, okay. No, never mind. All right, cool.
Yeah, their lap times were much faster.
Yeah. So Apocalyptic took it. They technically won, even though they were second, because the other one was out of the class. With a new build, it was a Z, right?
Yes, 280ZX.
I don't know, it's 280, but it was that generation. Followed by the Baltimoreans again, and then AOA Motorsports. We don't know AOA. We know everybody else on this list. A bit of listener feedback. Alex Levinson was running with the Baltimoreans, and they had an up and down weekend. His Miata got hit in the parking lot, and no, it wasn't Yuri who hit it. But on Saturday, they finished first in class. Quote, this is from Alex, "Keep listening to each 3 p.m.'s bullet points, each and every one, and you taught me so much." And he passed it on. They used all of our advice to their advantage. I can't imagine that it actually helped them, but he claims it did. They didn't have to be the fastest. They just had to be the smartest. And we're definitely going to talk about that. That might come up on this race weekend or on this race show. I do have to say another big shout out from listener feedback from the race. The Garage Heroes in Training gave a big shout out to Carl and the rest of the Baltimoreans for helping them with their E36. They said they needed some help because their wrenching skills were not on fleek. And Carl came over, and they said they really learned a lot watching Carl kind of diagnose what was wrong with their E36.
Yeah, and it was also Race Bar was down there playing Baby Shark on there, and the Race Bar actually tried to get got El Jefe running as well.
Nice.
So it was go back and check all the stuff on your whatever your social media is. It was a good event. And Jeff, I haven't had a chance to ask you, what did you think of El Jefe's new livery? Because I
loved it. I watched the video of El Jefe going around the oval like 12 times. That is the second best thing to happen in endurance racing, like in the last month.
Yeah. All right. So that was great. We actually missed talking about it last week, so I apologize. But AER was at Lime Rock this weekend. 49 cars.
I totally missed that. I had no idea.
Yeah. 49 cars, 23 of them were BMWs.
Boring.
9 Miatas, 1 Honda, 7 Porsches, and an 86 RX-7. So Random Vandals Racing took the overall. Second was SJS Motorsports. Third was S&J Racing. The Johnson Toyota, the red Solara that we did battle with at Connecticut, and they had teething problems because it was a new build. They got it out there, and they were third in Class 1 at AER at Lime Rock. So congratulations to those guys. I'm glad to see.
I think they're actually running an FRS, a Scion FRS in AER. They have a third car.
Okay, I may have looked at that wrong. I saw pictures on their page of the Solara at the track, but that may have not been the one. It may have been their FRS.
I can't imagine.
It's painted the same.
Is it? I can't imagine that Solara not being faster than that FRS. That Solara was quick.
The red one.
The red one.
The black one is a
black one
ship,
is fast too, but the red one seemed to be faster. It just was in the pits more.
Yeah. So, probably everything that they learned on the green one that they put into the red one over years of development.
Yeah.
And also this past weekend, Lisa, our buddy commentator from our Sunday night events with the Bearded Sim Racer, she was the sole person running the Lemons Hell on Wheels California Rally. So your winner on points was the Holland Cush and a 91 Cushman Holster.
And
why?
Hats off to you for doing did they get 1,000 miles? They were pretty close. I think they were a little over 1,000.
Yeah, it was
frickin' Cushman. Was it 3-wheel or 4-wheel?
No, it was the 4-wheel.
It was the 4-wheel.
Yes. But so also going through that, you had your runner-up was the Highway Patrol Hillbillies and a 59 Volvo P544. Third on points, Silly Hats only in a 67 Mercedes-Benz 200D. That's the one with the tail fins, Hekenflasse.
Yeah.
Get on the Bus was the Putt Pirates in a 65 Volkswagen bus. Org Choice was a minty Z24 Cavalier 88 Z24 convertible, Cavalier Z24 convertible, and Random Acts of Stupidity was Mad Dog and the Batman in a 99. Now I did actually get some feedback from Lisa Sims. So, hey, what was going on with that? So the Cushman belongs to a guy named Grant. I'm going to butcher this name, but it's Warren Tendike. And I say that, Jeff, I take it back. It was a 3-wheel death trap. He has a 7-gallon tank. He averaged 30 miles per gallon. The engine is a Daihatsu ED10 sitting at a 60-degree slant with a scoop for a side-mounted radiator. He has a 160-amp alternator. He had to rebuild the carb, including a convoluted automatic choke and a CB with an in-cab speaker so he could kind of hear. Broke his axle after the second or third stop, went to a buddy's place, had to replace it, lost the air scoop someplace down a dirt road where he drove a 3-wheeled Cushman, wore a helmet in 100 degrees just in case some highway patrolman felt like being a jerk. The 88 Cavalier, perfect interior, had the waffle rims. Now, most of you guys were in high school when I was in high school. Tell me that the Z24 convertible was the ride, like the captain of the cheerleading team drove that. So it's got that.
Hold on a second here. I have a picture of the Cushman. Let me
Bust it out.
this up.
Oh yeah.
It's got headlights. It's got taillights. It's got some kind of external cage going on. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah.
Just all kinds of a bad idea.
Yeah, I also have a picture.
Click on that Z24. Tell me that
that's
Z24 is not minty.
Next.
Mm.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that is clean.
That reminds me of my buddy Don's car.
Don, absolutely.
He had a
finest in
black
dollar store
Z24.
Tupperware.
I can't.
There was a 78 Pacer dude. This is hilarious.
The 78 Pacer. I got that here too.
He has done a ton of rallies, right? Lost his keys the morning of the start. I had no idea.
Gary?
He had to go and get a locksmith to come and make him new keys.
That absolutely is Gary.
Hotel, lost him in the hotel parking lot, walking to his hotel room.
Let's check the handle here. Glebe 4 and
yeah, that is
Glebe 4. Yeah, that is his car. So Gary, this is Gary from California. Gary was the very first person to run a Lemons rally, the Babe Rally,
Babe Rally,
and a Lemons event in the same car. So he had the dual two parts of the trifecta before we did with the Wartburg.
Nice.
Yeah, we know Gary for years.
Speaking of
I
Lemons
thought his
veterans,
Lemons event was after GRM.
His Lemons event was.
Yeah.
But speaking of Lemons veterans who make poor decisions, Chris Blizzard brought an 99 F-350 with a camper shell. Brought his wife and his 2 kids along. Sounds like a great idea, right? After the second day, they had to cut and run because the kids were puking because they're riding in the camper shell on twisty roads in an F-350, and driving a camper shell on a curvy mountain road is terrifying.
Probably.
So Yeah, there's a lot going on. You'll get the entire thing on there. But poor Lisa had to witness all of this. And I appreciate her sharing that little snippet of the story with us.
If you're not following
in her hometown,
if you're not following the Instagram hashtag Lemons Rally, what are you doing with your life?
you're missing out.
Yeah.
The next big one, and it looks like it's going to go, is the one you were threatening to do in Bangor, Maine, just before the Halloween Hoopty Fest.
Threatening, not gonna happen. Thank you, Rona.
Fair
my life.
enough. All right.
Yeah, we wanted to do that one too, but it overlaps with the Hoopty Fest. Got a 88 Cressida sitting out in the driveway. That would be perfect for it.
Isn't it supposed to end on the Friday night, or is it supposed to
Saturday
end on the
night.
Sunday night?
Saturday night.
Well,
next time we have Rude on, we're gonna ask him about that because
you've got a qualified Cressida driver just to the left of my screen, and then Clayman will be there. I mean, it's Saturday. How hard can it be?
Sure.
We'll keep Matt's hands off his crotch. The car won't get wrecked. It'll be fine.
Look, if you run 4-hour shifts, you only get one a weekend. So just have yours on Sunday.
That's true. Run 2.
Let's get on to the real listener feedback. I know we've already been doing some, but we got YouTube listeners. I almost called them listeners. We have hi YouTube. Everybody wave to YouTube.
That's how I watch. I watch on YouTube.
Yeah. So Kagan09 said, "This story was so good, I'm listening twice."
That was
last
the
week's
victory,
episode.
yes.
Yeah, about the victory. So
That's Chris Egan.
Is that Chris Egan?
I think so.
What the hell? Chris, you listen to it on the podcast. Why are you watching on whatever?
YouTube is better.
If we get another 910 subscribers on YouTube, we can actually start editing a lot more.
All right, everyone just go and subscribe. You don't have to actually watch, just go and subscribe now.
And honestly, say like if I've got a spam account that like, oh, would you like to sign up for this to get something free? Sure. Here's an email that I'm never going to check. It's on Gmail. Maybe log on to that YouTube and subscribe. And then before you go to bed, hit play all on our videos. I'm just saying, it helps us. I don't know if you've noticed a steady uptick in our videos, but there's a lot of oddball accounts that are watching all of our videos.
Oh, okay. Who knew?
Oh, the one thing you have to mention, Mental, when you talk about subscribing is ringing the notification bell.
No, don't bother. You don't actually need to watch the videos. Hit the subscribe button.
We don't
I thought it was a thing.
Yes. And by the way, YouTube listeners, Mental, I was able to link the videos. I was able to go like this, and
it was like this little tiny, tiny thing that goes right there. But you got it, and actually that leads into the second apology I owe you. And I forgot to do this last week.
Should I do the other listener feedback, or should we do the apology first?
I'm gonna do the apology because you're gonna mispronounce who this guy is.
Sure.
So about a year ago, when they were coming back from New Hampshire, Jeff mentioned his tiny little gas tank on the Nissan Titan kept running out of gas, and they had to stop and get gas. And he went on and on how somewhere in the hood of Hartford, Connecticut, he found the best fried chicken he's ever had in his life. Now,
well, let's not go that far. I said I found really good fried chicken in the hood.
I'm pretty sure you said best you've ever eaten.
It was good.
You were pretty excited about it, Jeff.
I was. It was really damn good chicken.
Being a proud Southern man, there is no way the best chicken Jeff has ever had is in Hartford, friggin' Connecticut. Okay, if I want a finger sandwich or a lobster troubadour or some sort of New England clam chowder, whatever you Yankees eat, that's when I go to Hartford, Connecticut. But not this fried chicken. Well, when we were at Thompson. Again, Alex Levinson used to work at a bar in Hartford. And when they got done on Saturday nights, they would all pool their tips and send their bar back to this gas station in the hood of Hartford, Connecticut to buy whatever chicken was left, because apparently this is the best fried chicken in the Northeast. And we found out that it was the exact same place.
Same place.
Jim and Jeff found by accident while looking for gas. And Alex has been in the bar industry for years. He knows food, and I got to take his word for it. So, Jeff, turns out you really did find some damn good fried chicken in
Damn
Hartford,
good
Connecticut.
fried chicken. 944 other listener feedback. 944 connoisseur Jack Hanna. As podcasts, I listen to you guys while at work. Now that you're on YouTube, I have less to listen to at work because now I have to make time to watch the episode. Makes it much more fun, just like we're part of the party. Jack, a.k.a. the guy from the Scrapyard Refugees. Or
You got it right.
Scrappy
Scrapyard
Ard
Scrapyard
Fugees.
Dave, even Dave knows that joke.
Look, when you put it in the show notes with a space between Scrapyard and Refugees, I can read it. When it's the Instagram handle and it's all smushed together, then I have a problem.
So on Facebook, Jeff put a great slow motion video of the final moments of the Thompson race. And we got lots of really good positive feedback on that one, but a couple of comments that just stood out and made me laugh out loud. One of them, AJ Salza said, when the blocker forgets to block because he's staring at his teammate's wheel falling off. Priceless. And the other one again came from Alex. That moment when you want to be a Wheaties commercial, but realizing you're only good enough for Special K. Sad trombone.
Oh, wait. I can get the trombone.
Been practicing.
No,
No.
No. No.
just luck.
Once
all
a week,
falling over
you
here.
know.
Only during the show.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Our non-racer listener, Slider. Oh, wait. My iPad turned off.
His number's
Slider.
in your phone. It's okay.
Reach
He's a
out
real
on
person.
the Instagram. Is this Slider who showed up on my phone? It's not a real name. If it mental, you need to start dealing with people with real first names. That's all I'm going to say.
Nah.
Congrats on your win at Thompson. Just heard the whole exciting story on the podcast. So pumped. It's exciting. How's Iceman, Slider? Corey Dickman also noted over 2 hours about the race on Thompson. Ugh, this should be interesting.
And then he texted me later and actually said it was a great story. So
That's true. Sure. I have to say that during our race, I was the first one to log in, and Corey was the only guy there. And we played "What Towns Don't Jeff Know in California?"
turns out all of them.
All of them. My West Coast geography is terrible.
All right. So Chris and Chrissy, or I'm sorry, no, I'm jumping ahead. The Racer Rona reaction. The Lemons folks, now they've had to reschedule some events and cancel some stuff, but they're not letting up on their audience engagement. There's some great stuff on their YouTube channel. They just did one about the Chinook that belongs now to my buddy Justin, belongs to a former guest of ours. Why am I blanking on his name, Jeff?
Spank.
Thank you, Spank. And, he drove it to a race and then sold it to my friend Justin, who's trying to now bag it. He's an old mini trucking guy, so he's going to do that.
For those of you who don't know, a Chinook is a 70s,
Toyota,
80s Toyota camper pickup.
It's the same year as my Hilux.
Wow.
78. But during these trying times, the old Lemon folks, they may be running a little thin on subjects because Thursday they had me, Chris, and Chrissy on for the Lemons Thursday Therapy. I want to thank Erling particularly. Erling checked in with us live while we were doing it. Corey, DC, Doug, Lisa, everyone else who engaged with us live during that time. That was a lot of fun. I wish we could have gotten more to that, but we were talking about stuff. Thanks to Nick and Eric for having us. It was a hoot. If you missed that, it's a link to their Facebook broadcast is in our show notes. They let us stay on also for Lemon's Car Spotting, which of course they threw up a BMW and we all boring.
Yeah, I had a big work meeting that I couldn't miss. So I was like zooming my work meeting, but my eyes were like over here watching, like trying to read the closed caption because I had the sound turned down. And then like my coworker was like, "Are you asleep?" And I'm like, No, I'm just not looking at the screen. So I got in trouble a little for my word. Anyway, so Chrissy also joined Ryan and Eric for the Sunday night I Suck at Racing League. Dave, your video card was still out, so you didn't participate in the Sunday race, did you?
Nope.
Anybody have a clue what happened? Who won? No.
No.
Didn't Nathan? I caught the end of it. I think Nathan
Well,
Slovene won.
Oh, Slovene, yeah.
He did, but they black flagged him because he was too far in front.
Yes, they black flagged him a lot.
Yes.
Chris and Chrissy were like, "Hey, Ryan, black flag him," and then they black flagged him. Hey, black flag him again. He's too far out in front.
They also are doing on the fly liveries for some of the cars that had like no livery on them.
Nice.
The Bearded Sim Racer was able to do that. They did the Wrangler theme. They changed that car to a Jordache theme.
Oh,
that's
funny.
funny.
Excellent.
That's awesome. You also
Very
said
nice.
you were participated in our E1R races. Why don't you tell everybody about that?
Well, Chris set them up because I was actually able to run part of it with the onboard video of my computer with like 30 frames per second. So we did
Sounds painful.
figure eight. Yeah, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but yeah, with one monitor, it's a far cry.
I always have one monitor. I don't know what
Yes.
you're talking about.
But
Explains a lot.
yes, it does. So we did figure eight first, and that was an absolute blast. As always, Tom was hitting me, and I was hitting Tom, and a lot
Those
of
races are
FUs
always
flying.
just the best part is I think it's becoming duplicatable. We've developed a skill set to where you can knock someone into the pits so fast they can get a speeding in pits penalty, because
Yes.
you always have the automatic throttle set up that once you cross the green cones you can't speed, but if you hit somebody right, that's always hilarious.
Yes.
Somebody got a black flag. Their tires weren't even on the ground. They flew through the pits in the air, and when they landed, they still had a black flag for speeding through the pits.
I think it was Hamza.
Unsafe pit entry.
Unsafe pit entry. That's what it was. It was Thompson. Yeah,
Oh,
we had
big
a
in the air,
blast.
silly nannies.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely had a blast. I was in the Fozzie Bear liveried Legend, and I came in like third. I was like cruising. I was like, "Eat that, Slovene! I'm ahead of you." It didn't last, but
Right.
yeah. Then we went to the dirt, and I was terrible. I don't even know what track that was. What was that?
That was Lanier.
Ugh.
Lanier
Right
with
across
dirt.
the street from Road Atlanta. Yeah, it's not dirt anymore. They paved the entire thing. Like the whole bowl is paved now because they do drift events there. But back in the days when it was dirt, it was quite the spectacle.
Yeah, iRacing has both. They actually had the asphalt version of Linear. Then when they came out with
Right.
dirt, they just made the same track with dirt on it.
Nice. I was the only one who chose the Pro 2 truck, which I don't understand that. But
I was in the 87 Monte Carlo, and it was terrible. It was definitely not the thing to bring. No.
Yeah.
you know how
definitely.
they tell you to turn right to go left. You were turning left to go right. and
I
don't
was
understand that.
doing my best. Dave, you ended up winning that by like 87 laps, didn't you?
Seriously, it was
only
embarrassing.
32. Well, I picked the one of the other dirt cars was a Dirt Legend. Which
I should have picked
yes.
the Legend.
Yeah, the Dirt
It was
Legend
only a
is-
30-lap race, so I don't know how he won by 32 laps. But he
Nah,
did.
whatever.
Levine did his backwards, and I think he won by 29 laps.
He did.
Yes.
He was pretty close. Chrissy's not here. Do we still have to say hi to her mom?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm just checking the rules. Hi, Chrissy's
I'm sorry.
mom.
Here. Let's run through. Let's go through a decision diagram. Do you like cookies?
Yes.
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 Would you like to continue to get delicious cookies at a race?
Yes.
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 Okay. Who
Wakeman, I
provides
will
us?
beat you.
So, all right, and then now a new something. Do you want your ass beat by Aaron? And bear in mind, not only is he bigger than us, he also beat cancer. So, yeah,
No.
we're nothing compared to cancer. So
I don't want my
yeah,
butt kicked.
No. So then, yes. Do we say we still love you, Chrissy's mom, even though Chrissy isn't here?
Absolutely.
We
Absolutely.
love Chrissy's mom.
And actually, it's not just the cookies. She's a sweetheart, so we love her to death.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, main topic time.
I feel like
Is
it is.
that's got a question mark at the end of it. Main topic time. We have assembled the crew on purpose tonight, not just because Chris and Chrissy were gone, because actually, if they were going to be here, we'd still have y'all on because we need to talk about the Cressida. We need to talk about the Cressida for a few reasons. A, it's probably better driven than our car.
It is.
B, it proves that you don't need to have the highest horsepower car on the planet to win lemons. So basically, it's better proof of what we teach than our own car at this point, because
Pretty
we
much,
have
yeah.
made our car a razor's edge to try and win. And the
It only
last,
took us 3 years.
I was going to say, and the last race, these three jamokes plus some dude from down south who like eats kale for a living was a minute and 40 seconds behind us after 13, how many hours was the race?
14 and a
14
half.
and a half.
14 and a half hours of racing. They were a minute and 40 behind us with a mechanical black flag that probably would have put you in the hunt for first place.
At
At
least
least.
single-digit seconds back.
Oh,
Oh, no doubt. And last year, you guys finished 4th. You guys
Yep.
were, I want to say, you were less than 2 minutes out of lead then.
I was in the hospital for that one.
Yeah, Aaron wasn't
Yeah.
there for that one.
So Dave, we've had you on before to talk about RC. We've had you on
Mhm.
before to talk about iRacing. Jim, we've had you on to talk about computer stuff and iRacing. Aaron, this is your first time on, right?
Something like that.
Something like that. So why don't we begin with introductions? Say who you are. Somebody tell me about this damn Japanese four-door BMW looking thing.
Wannabe does it better than a Beamer.
Yeah, I don't know.
Conglomeration of rust and bolts.
You're talking, Aaron. Give us your resume. Who are you? How do you get to be with us?
I am Wartburger Thief Aaron. Basically, how did I come to get with you guys? I found you guys on the Lemons Forum with Ray in the Cortina back in 2014, I believe it was.
So 2014 was your first Lemons race, but you had a sort of race career before that, right?
Yeah, following Dave around for the most part, racing RC cars. And then later on helping my other uncle, Dave's brother, at Wall Stadium, Roundy Rounders, asphalt modifieds. But mostly just, always wanted to race myself. Found Lemons on, what show was that with Jesse Combs?
Yeah, I know that show.
The List, on the
The
list.
list. Yep.
And a buddy of mine had actually given me a 4th gen Camaro Z28. I think it was a 94. And I immediately, tried to rope Dave into it. And he wasn't exactly biting out of the gate. He was like, yeah, maybe, maybe not.
I find that hard
And-
to believe. Racing? Nah, I don't do
yeah,
that.
Well, no. Dave's internet savvy, so he probably Googled. He's like, "What the hell are these idiots wearing?" I'm not doing
I think it was the whole Chevy thing, if I'm honest. But
Oh, okay.
Well, that too.
I'm willing to go
whole Chevy
racing,
thing.
just not in that piece of junk. I understand
Right.
that.
Right. So after getting on the forums and realizing that my best bet just to start out was probably finding an arrive and drive, posted something on the forums, and the first 2 people responded were Ray with the Cortina and what was that other team? Elmo's Revenge.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
And
with the Rover.
right. Well, at the time it was actually they were running a Saturn. That was
Yeah.
before they
Would've been
wrecked their
Saturn, yeah.
Saturn. And I don't know, something about that 68 Ford Cortina just kind of caught my attention. Being an auto
good-looking
mechanic,
car.
I've seen a million Saturns. I don't want to look at another Saturn.
It's that whole Ford versus GM thing.
The Cortina hardly qualifies. It's a British car, so it's got double working against it. But that's pretty much where it started. 2 races in the Cortina. The Cortina broke. Car owner kind of drove me nuts. Finally, Dave, to his credit, showed up at the first Lemons race and did just about as much work as I did keeping the Cortina running, if not more.
Yeah. Just keeping it alive.
Just keeping it alive. And had roped him in to race the next year, and he found the Cressida. He's like, maybe we should get a backup car. And I'm telling him, don't buy it. You don't need to buy that. This car will be fine. Why are we going to? No, don't buy it. Don't buy it. So we go and look at it. He goes, well, listen, the price is right. Why not? All right, fine. And it wound up being about the only time he didn't listen to me, and he was right to not listen to me.
Well, that is a great transition. Dave, why don't you tell us about how you got into Lemons and then explain what the hell this Cressida is?
Well, like Aaron said, I remember him talking about Lemons, and it wasn't so much about like what these crazy idiots are doing or anything like that. It was kind of being apprehensive because I know myself. Once I get into it, forget it. It's going to be game over. I'm going to be feet
Which
first.
has happened already, clearly.
Clearly, absolutely. So then he told me about when he got the deal with the Cortina and Ray, and so I went to the first race at New Jersey and just wrenched all weekend, and just to keep the thing, it was overheating, and it just.
That wasn't Axle Snap weekend, right?
No, that was
New Hampshire.
Yeah.
My wife
Hampshire.
got the pictures of that one.
Yeah, that race I didn't make it to. I was away on vacation somewhere else. But so then, as my cat's driving me crazy, so that's when the following year, like Aaron said, we were supposed to run the Cortina at Thompson, right? And it was probably maybe a month and a half before Thompson. I saw the Cortina for sale on, I think it was on Craigslist. It was only a few towns away from me.
The Cressida,
I'm sorry. And so, and Aaron, he had talked about it at that Camaro, and I said, you know what, for the time that it's going to take to build that Camaro, and it's still a Camaro, we could buy this car. It's already got a cage in it. It's already been raced. What could be so wrong with it? So, like he said, we went and looked at it, and one of the things that sold me, Brian, the guy who originally built it, really knew Supras. Like he had Supras beforehand, and his knowledge of the car was great. Like he explained everything that he did to the car. Like I was comfortable in buying the car from him. He wasn't just some idiot that just took some junker and put a cage in it and went racing.
Unlike the rest of us.
Like, yes.
Literally
Sure.
The rest of us, yes.
Does it still have the giant star exhaust?
Yeah, actually, I'll tell you a funny story about that. So I had the star exhaust in my backyard for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years. And then last year, somebody posted pictures on Facebook, and Brian contacted me and asked me if he could buy the star back from me so he could hang it on his garage wall.
Nice. So explain what it was. It was a Bozuzuka. How do you say it?
Bozuzuka themed car, yes.
Bozuku.
Bozuzuko.
Yeah.
Whatever. So anyway.
Japanese lowrider.
Yes. So the before Thompson, we were able to do a track day with it, and Ray had the Cortina we did it at Raceway Park at Englishtown. I did it so I could get some track time and run my new car. And Ray I think he was working out bugs with the clutch and some other issues with it. And if I remember correctly, the ball joints, they were discovered to be really bad and unobtainium for a 68 Cortina with, I think, 2 weeks before the race. So we decided to buy tires for the Cressida and paint it real quick and run that.
I'm pleading the fifth on all the Cortina talk.
Yes, so that's where it started, and then the rest is history, as they say.
So I think I have a picture of the Cressida as purchased, just to show that, yeah.
While Jeff's taking up this page, because this was a hilarious thing, and it was something Phil had wanted for years. And
there's a picture of the star exhaust.
Yes. I love the lesson that, Dave talked about, is when you show up to pick up the car and the guy starts talking intelligent mechanical stuff, and you don't have to be a super mechanic, but when the person is telling you, I did this, I did that, and they've been endurance racing, not speed racing, that's one of those confidence level kind of build-ups on that one. If you're shopping for a car, find someone that built it to last, not someone that built it to win.
Yeah.
You'll make it win with your team.
Give us the basics. What is it? What is a Cressida? What year is it? What's been done to it? And then we'll get Jim to do his introductions, and we'll start talking about the actual racing.
So the Cressida, it's a 1986, also known as an MX-73. It was Toyota's luxury car. Basically, it's based off of a Mark II Supra. It's a little bit longer, but it has all the same suspension components. The rear trailing arms are a little bit longer, but otherwise, all the drivetrain and everything else is identical. As far as modifications, when we got it, it was really pretty stock. They didn't do anything to it other than the previous owner had done a manual swap in it, so it's got a manual transmission. It still had the stock exhaust manifold. It still had a muffler in it. They had actually only raced the car, I think, twice, and were mostly going after the theme. And I think they had like 6 drivers originally, so they weren't going out for wins. But over the course of the years, I've done some upgrades to it, header, airbox, minor stuff, suspension upgrades with, better shocks. I did do like a coilover conversion in the front, but it was like a kit. You had to weld on the strut tubes and camber plates, and pretty much that's about it for the most part. A lot of the other stuff that's come along over the years was out of necessity. Motor swap after the original motor was just starting to get tired and actually started getting the leaky head gasket.
How many races did you go before you swapped the motor the first time?
Well, there's a story behind that too. We did go. I'm trying to think. We had picked up a I'll say slightly modified 6M that is an upgraded motor, but it had some work done to it, and we put it in for New Jersey in I think 2018, and it didn't make it through the end of practice day.
Put in a hot motor. That's the problem.
So, well, basically, it was like sucking
Aaron's
oil out of
having
it.
flashbacks.
Yes.
That's third driver ignoring oil light going into corners. That's not a hot engine. That's idiot behind wheel.
Yeah. Well, the engine, for some reason, it had a slow leak, or it had like a small oil leak, but I think it was getting a lot of blow by and sucking oil out of it, and burning a lot. And then by the end of the practice day, it was so low under braking that the oil sloshed away from the oil pump. The little light flickered, and 2 laps of that happening, and it was done. So we spent all Friday night going and picking up the original motor, stayed up all night putting it in.
I remember that because I showed up to that race late, and you guys were wrenching on it. I'm like, wait a minute. Why? Where are they?
What's with the Cressida? The Cressida.
It's 11 o'clock at night. Why are they wrenching on the Cressida?
Yep. So
that never happens.
That car, when we try to make it faster, it loves to punish us.
Yes. Pretty much. So we stayed up all night. Sun was coming up, and I had the theme from Days of Thunder, the intro, playing in Aaron's head when the sun's coming up over Daytona, because there was nobody in the garage. It was just us. The sun was coming up.
I've been there. I know what that's like.
So, and then we got it fired up, and it was pretty much, Aaron got it, I think he went and maybe took a 15-minute power nap, if that, and he strapped in for his stint. I got maybe a half an hour nap in while he was running. And
was that when Neil running with you on that race?
No, Neil thankfully was there helping.
Neil was there helping wrench, but I didn't remember
Yes.
if he was there to.
He
Yes.
helped me get the engine out while Dave and Ray went and got the other engine.
Yeah.
Got it.
We could not have done that weekend without Neil. That would not have happened without him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
shout outs to Neil, who has only raced with us a couple times. He's a roundy round friend of yours, right?
Yeah.
So-
We actually interviewed him and his son on the YouTubes, and watch this. I'll link it right there, up there somewhere.
It's this big, folks.
I know,
It'll
but
be
that's
right
where it
there.
is.
But
So-
it's legit. It's legit.
Yeah.
It'll
but
be
if
there.
if you all subscribe and just let the videos play overnight, we could do like the big link. I'm just saying.
Yes. So that weekend we ended up finishing 5th overall at New Jersey.
Well, we'll get to the resume of how many times the Crescent has run. Let's get Jim an introduction here, too. Jim is OG original 4 of the Three Pedal Mafia. Back when Mental was just an arrive and drive, some dude we met on the internet. You were there to build the first car when we didn't even have the name Three Pedal Mafia. We were still running under Misfit Toys. Tell us who you are and your racing resume. And you don't know nothing about Cressida because this was your first race in the Cressida or second race in the Cressida? The one that we just
Second.
finished. Second. Okay. So tell us who you are. Introduce
All right. So I am obviously your brother, the better of the two, because I show up on time.
Fact.
More hair,
On
older,
More hair.
wiser.
Smarter.
Yes, the whole works. Anyway, so basically my racing career goes back to the aforementioned Babe Rally, where we met Gary. Mental was not on the Babe Rally the first time we went.
No.
That was a different gym, and Chris and I and a guy named Raph.
F's in
And-
chat for Rafts, by the way. Where is he these days?
I don't know.
Your
He
little
shows up
dog
in
has
my-
shown up.
Yeah, that's Cody. So we did that in what we affectionately called
07?
Fugly the Wonder Van. That was like 06, 07, somewhere in that
06, I
time.
think. Actually, yeah.
That
Hey,
was
so, Jim, didn't you have a picture of Fugly up
Yes.
when we were waiting? Yeah. Go ahead, click the share screen. Throw that up there. It's funny.
I gotta allow share. Go ahead, keep talking while I do the allow share.
I'll just put it up behind my head.
Oh,
That's Fugly the Wonder Van.
whoops! Stop share.
So Jeff lived in North Jersey back then, and we left from New York. So he came over and he met us, and we drove to New Orleans in that wonderful van with the red shag carpet that went to the roof.
I'm sure it smelled wonderful at the end of a week.
It smelled better at the end of the
I'm
week than
sure
when we
it smelled.
started.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go. That's a New Jersey custom van. There's no way it smelled good.
Yeah, the wood grain was hand painted. You could see brush marks in it. It was awesome. Anyway, enough of the van. Anyway, so that's when I met Chris. Couple years later, we did the whole Wartburg thing, and I met Mental when I picked him up from the airport. Had no idea what he looked like. All he said was he was going to be the one dude with a cowboy hat, and he was.
Easy
Philadelphia.
to do in Philadelphia. Yeah. You're the only idiot in a cowboy hat.
We raced the Wartburg that year. 2 years later, we were Three Pedal Mafia with
Yep.
the Civic,
I want to throw
the
a little bit
original
of-
Wagavan.
Yeah, that I looped on lap 0. I want to throw a little bit of a humble brag. If I'm not mistaken, at the time you picked me up, you were getting your bachelor's and your master's at the same time.
Yes.
Because just getting a bachelor's is so easy. It's just it's make a challenge out of it.
When you're in your mid 40s, it actually is easy. Okay. Like you're used to working 40 hours a week for
Which
like
you
20
were-
something years.
Which you were doing, and you were a father. Yeah, so
Yes. And then so I took a 4-year vacation and got a bachelor's and master's degree all at once as a full-time student, thanks to the home housing mortgage implosion crisis that started in 2008. I discovered very quickly that without a college degree, I wasn't even getting job interviews after being
So-
gainfully employed for 25 years.
So now all of you people that have cable and cable internet and everything that works well with your cable and cable internet, Jim says you're welcome. If it's wrong, he hasn't had a chance to fix it.
It's not my department.
These days.
Because if it was your department, it would work.
Yes.
So we are down one race car. For those of you who have been listening for a while, you know that we are slowly building a Z that Aaron told us not to buy, but we didn't listen to.
Nobody ever listens to the mechanic.
Yeah.
Ever.
I didn't listen to you.
Aaron was right. It was a bad move, and we are 30%, 20% away through an LS swap. So we had to punt Jim off the Civic team and punt him over to the Cressida team. And why don't you, we've already mentioned that you were a minute 40 behind us in third place of the closest race ever. Why don't you give us the story about how your race went this weekend or last weekend in Thompson?
Can I be rude before we get to that? Because I want to throw a couple things. Because Jim was there for the Class B Civic win.
Yeah.
Yep. Jim was there for the IOE with the Wartburg.
All of them.
All the IOEs.
All the IOEs.
Just say Jim was there for the Jim was there for the Class B with the boat.
Yep.
Yeah. So every time we have
Class
come
C
away
with
Class C with the boat.
Every time we've come away with a trophy, Jim's been in the driver's seat. And
until this time.
I think I said this. Yeah. I think I've said this one time, but to give you an idea of the character of Jim.
Oh.
He's
allergic
allergic
discussion.
Yes. He's allergic to dogs. What's laying on your bed right now, Jim?
A Chihuahua.
Yes, exactly. He's got a Chiweenie. Of all the people that, aren't direct blood relatives of mine that my weenie dog likes the best, Jim is number one. And he had my weenie dog in his lap. That's how I found out you were allergic to dogs, is you let my dumb weenie dog sit in your lap the entire
Cheech is awesome.
parade.
Cheech is pretty cool.
But Cheech also recognizes good people. So I want to give you guys an inference as to the character of Jim. So he is never a spotlight seeker, but he conveniently is always around when we have success. And I don't think that is he's around because we're succeeding. I think that equation goes backwards. So that's where I wanted to go with that one.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
Wait a second. Hold on. I must share screen.
Okay.
This is not. Oh, is it the Cheech picture?
Yeah.
Yep. That's me sitting in the boat at the parade with Cheech, and he spent hours there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so miserable later.
That is a high quality dog. But you sneeze whenever you even look at my dog, so I don't know how that happened.
Your dogs kill my allergies. I don't know what it is. They are rough, but they're also really good dogs.
All dogs are good. They're all good dogs.
And we're going to talk about the absolute domination of the Cressida across the board. We had the stats last week. I'm too lazy to dig them up, but basically, if you guys finish a race, you finish top 10. And one of the things that I genuinely enjoy about this, with the exception of Jim, who's been in the SCCA since he was born.
No,
I think that was your birth certificate is an SCCA membership card from your dad or something. I don't know, but you've done a lot of jobs. You've done corner workers. You've done a lot of HPDE. Now, Dave, you've done some RC stuff and some circle track stuff, and the same thing with Aaron. You've done some circle track stuff, but you guys have never had formal racing training. You guys just learned the hard way. So this is where I want to go with this, is when we keep talking about, it's not the horsepower, it's the team that matters. It's the car, it's your pit stops. And I'm going to question you when you guys talk about Thompson, about your pit stops, because they were alarmingly
a lot faster than ours.
Way fast. We practiced ours and we still suck. So
ours were quick. Yours are lightning. That's the problem.
Yeah. I would argue that the Cressida is the least horsepower of any of the top 10 cars that you've ever finished the race in. There might be one or two exceptions, but I don't think so.
Well, at its weight, yes, I'll agree with that. I mean, because there's been, I think the Massholes won with an Escort that I don't know how much horsepower that little Escort has, but they were really good drivers.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Their car's a lot lighter.
With us. Their cars. Our car with me in, it's like 3,300 pounds. So.
This is the
and with
thing
everyone else, it's only like 3,000. So
this is the thing that we keep talking about is you can sit there and do all this I need this part, I need that part before I go to the track, before I do this. You don't. Oh, I need to get this training, I need to do this. You don't. What you need is a good group of people that you can trust, that you can talk to, that you can rely on, and you need an anvil of a car. And
there is definitely some smoke and mirrors here, because I know that I lent Dave my truck once, and like 6 months later, I was still finding parts that he had like stashed in like every nook and cranny. I'm like, there's a purple bag here with like a brake caliper in it. Is that? Yeah, that's ours. Okay.
Yep.
So as you're listening to the story, just we don't joke when we say this is the most successful car in Three Pedal Mafia history. This is documented fact. We'll
catch up someday.
Yeah, there's been races when we're sitting there staring at a broken boat, a broken Honda, a broken TR. Well, we're always staring at the broken TR. That's not the point. Yeah. And we're like, well,
Cressida's running.
I've been part of those conversations.
Yeah.
At least the Cressida's running.
Exactly. Because tell us about your race at Thompson. Mental and I will shut up for a minute, as hard as it is, and let you guys speak.
All right. You want me to go
Who
first?
wants it first?
Since I could start with testing day.
Sure.
So testing day, hadn't been driving much of anything lately, except for the HPDE that we all went to down in Pittsburgh. Got to test the Cressida. It ran beautifully. Right? Ran solid. I could put it anywhere on the track that I really felt like I needed to. There wasn't a whole lot of traffic, so that was easier. But I got to test it and do some really good stuff. And then later in the day, when pretty much testing was about an hour and a half left, Chris said, "Jim, take the Civic for a run." And boy, was it different. The Civic is so you
a knife edge.
Yeah, it was very twitchy, very squirrely, and there was a lot of things. It's like, oh, I cannot break this car. I did not worry about that with the Cressida, unless I did something really bad with it. But yeah, so the Civic was a lot louder, a lot more aggressive. So if you guys remember, the difference
louder's a good word.
Yeah, the difference between like the noise the Civic Wagovan used to make and the boat.
Yeah.
Right? Cut the top off. Horrendous. Just that beating of the air when you're driving the boat. Forget the fact that like the fiberglass is flapping and all that stuff. That difference is the difference between going from the Cressida to the Civic as it was when you guys raced it. I mean, it was that much more raw. Well, they were both fun. And over a course of a stint, I feel like I probably would have been faster overall in the Cressida.
Interesting.
And I keep hearing that like, the Cressida is, Sandra Bullock after half a bottle of wine, and you're sliding in, and then
wait. Keep talking about that.
Yeah, and
say it slower.
And the Civic is more like one of the crazy Deadites from Army of Darkness. You'll never get the Necronomicon. So.
Okay. Yeah. Dave, Aaron, tell us about what was the strategy? What was it like? Dave, we didn't think Aaron was going to run about 3 weeks out, right? I mean,
we only just found out maybe 3 weeks ago that Aaron was going to be able to run with us. So, and then his stamina was going to be in question. Pretty much, like, I talked to all of the, Jim, Aaron, and and Steve, and I actually talked to Jim about like possibilities of how we split up 4 drivers, because Thompson's format with it being what 9.5 hours on
one day and
yeah,
6 on
like,
the other.
and then 5 on the other.
5 on the other.
Yeah. It makes it tough when like the Cresta can comfortably go 2.5 hours on a stint comfortably. We can stretch
With
it a little longer.
Stock friggin' fuel tank.
Yes, that's the other beauty
That
of
is
the
an
Cressida.
18-gallon tank.
Right, the Cressida has an 18
Yeah,
gallon tank.
we have a 22-gallon tank, and we are choking at an hour and 45.
Wow, we have problems.
Yes.
Didn't
So-
used to do that.
Right.
So everybody was like, let's go for the best finish. So we decided to go like 4 stints on Saturday and 2 stints on Sunday, and then just decide on who would run Sunday. And everybody was cool with that. So we just go with that game plan, and just the main objective is not step on your wiener. You know, we typically have the slowest car in the top 10, and
36th fastest
yeah,
car of
at
the
Thompson.
weekend.
What was it?
Tom-
80? What was it? 36
36
fastest.
fastest.
Yep. And so we went with that. Everybody ran clean, ran good, consistent lap times. Didn't get in any trouble all day Saturday. And, you know, all of our times were actually very close. Like, I was really shocked at how close we all 4 of us were. Like, we were all within our fastest lap times. Were within, like, probably a second and a half at total.
If you discount the yellow flags, you had a handful of Blazers at 130s. You had one 130. That was Aaron, actually, on lap 61. But then the rest of the times, you guys are consistently 131, 132s, 134s, and it goes like that literally.
Mm-hmm.
Take the yellows out of that, and so a 3-second spread, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, so your
absolutely.
best time at Thompson was 1:30.899. We should mention that the best time in the Civic was a 1:27.154. So when we say it's not the fastest, it's not that far off. It is not a slow car at all.
No,
No.
it's not slow, but it's
But there's
just,
I mean, if
There's a lot of
we were to
cars.
put Chris in that car, I'm pretty sure Chris could probably get the Cressida down to a 129 or 128.
Yeah, it's a
Oh,
The car
second.
has it in it.
It's a second or 2 off. It's not a turd
And
by any
I've
stretch of the imagination.
I think it's me and Chris here, the only people that have never driven the Cressida.
No, I never drove it either.
Okay, so there's 3 of us that have never driven the Cressida, and everyone says the same. Like Faridas says, Pantless Matt, it's claiming everyone says the same thing. They said the car is just right. I would like this car to be on the second piece of gravel coming out of turn 3 as I exit. It goes exactly where I would like it.
yeah, the
Pretty
car really
much.
talks to you. It's if you overdrive it, it lets you know it right away, and it's very
Well,
controlled.
the Civic does too by like spinning out. So
Yes.
The Cressida early on was like a little tail happy when we first got it. Some of the suspension, putting that spoiler on it helped. The better shocks helped, but mostly it was just driver error, just overdriving it. And we wanted to just step
it
out.
always is.
Yeah. So,
It always is.
but it's just
Yeah.
it doesn't beat you up. There's races where if I had a 24-gallon fuel cell, I could just go all day.
Yeah.
We'll be doing no driver stops. That's not gasoline leaking. It's urine. It's okay.
So you came in the end of day 1. Everybody got a chance, right? You put in all
Mhm.
4 drivers, which we only did 3 shifts. So we only stopped twice. You stopped 3 times.
Mhm.
And where were you compared to the Civic?
We were, what were we? Second?
You were second.
1 lap ahead.
1 lap ahead.
Yes.
In your first pit stop on Saturday was at lap 80, lap 81, and you guys were in 4th when you pulled in, and you'd actually on your pull-in lap, you passed a car for position from 5th to 4th.
So you stopped more than us, yet we're still ahead of us.
Oh yeah, at the end of the day, I'm sorry. That's
and
where
we had an error-free race. So
yeah.
Screw you! I don't know what to say. What the hell?
Are you paying attention, listeners? This is what we keep talking about, and we're like Jeff said, we do what we say, not what we do. And I'm not ever going to let this go. Aaron, you had not been in a car for, I want to say 14 months. You had not strapped into a race car?
Just about, yeah. My last race prior to this was Jersey last year.
Yeah. So Saturday morning, straps into a race car, never falls out of the top 5, brings the car in and forth for his first stint in 14 months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of that came down out of practice because I found out, like, I got in the car, I found out how being out of the car for a year, I had to build up the confidence in the car again. I desperately needed that track walk Friday night. Mm-hmm. And I think that helped a lot. Once I had that down, then I was able to just get in the car and go, because that just refreshed my memory on, okay, I brake here or lift here. And I remember what the car did and didn't like. Because up until that point in practice, I was actually struggling a little bit. I just didn't have the confidence to be able to run it as deep as I could, or really, really get it out of the car. You know what I mean?
Nice.
I'm looking at data here, so keep talking. Tell us what else happened.
So Saturday, that was you guys' worst pit stop, and I finger quotes worst. It was a 6-minute pit stop. And was it Steve that took the second stint on Saturday?
It was me.
Jim.
So Jim gets in the car. You have now driven the Cressida how many times counting practice?
Twice.
Twice counting practice. Jim gets maybe 3 times. Jim gets in the car. He's in 9th place. Because again, it's still early in the race. There's a lot of things. And Jim gets as high as 2nd. Brings the car in 2nd for the next pit stop, which I believe was Steve.
Nope. Dave.
Steve Never mind. Steve Dave. All right. So while Jeff is looking up data, Jim, tell us about your stint, because you went from 9th to 2nd.
Before we go, I just want to mention that I am not the fastest Civic driver. I think I am probably a C+ Civic driver. And my shift, I had a faster lap than you guys had in all race. So you smoked us by a lap plus with one last stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm upset now. I need to drive that or something. I don't know. I need to drive the Cressida. Next race, I'm in. Go ahead, Jim. Tell us about your shift.
So I get in the car. I think we had a little bit of trouble strapping me in. So I drive up to the to get my belts checked as I head out and take off. And I have no idea what place I'm in or anything. I just know that the Cressida is working. And I spend 2.5 hours and I don't see any one of the fast cars I expect to see. They don't come up from behind. I don't catch them. They're just like they weren't on the track.
And what kind of telemetry do you guys have in there? You watching your
Squat.
Zero.
I don't even like people telling me, just don't talk to me, let me do my thing, and that's it.
So you're not monitoring lap times.
Nope.
You're not talking about position. You're just out there running your race.
Running a race.
Yes.
I had a conversation with one of the garage heroes who was upset because the iPad didn't get in for their shift and blah 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 blah. And I was like, dude, you don't need telemetry.
Nope.
You don't need to know what your lap times are. I ran my entire shift without lap times. I hated it because I wanted to better myself and better myself and better myself. But you guys don't even run it, and you're crushing it.
We've talked about adding it several times, but we find it might just be more of a hindrance, because there were certain people at the time that were running the car that had to have the fastest lap time of the weekend, and we just didn't want them knowing how fast they were running. Just get in the car,
all right, I gotcha.
shut up, and drive.
Shut up and drive.
You know,
So
with no hero laps. There will be no hero laps in this car. That will be a flogging. So
just over halfway through your stint, Jim, at lap
Yes.
116, you were in ninth place. When you came out, you had some problems with the belt, so you guys were in ninth place. By lap 116, you guys were almost running 80 laps exactly throughout the entire stint on Saturday. You were fourth, and by lap 126, you were third.
And while Chrissy was in the car, I was trying to diagnose why she was having radio trouble.
While we were having radio trouble.
Yeah.
Yes, and we were having radio trouble too. So I was trying to figure out, is it this car? Is it their car? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Jim is in charge of the radios, in case you haven't figured it out.
Yes.
And the video.
And the video. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. I mean, like I said, passed a lot of cars. Obviously, there were a lot of cars that I came around again. Like I saw them like clockwork, right? Every so many laps, they'd show up again. But none of the fast cars. I didn't see Amanda's car. I didn't see the Civic. I didn't see the Solara. Didn't see much of the Silly Nanny's cars except when the Mustang broke and parked up by the second flag station and turned.
That was Sunday.
That was Sunday?
No, on Saturday. They broke on Saturday too.
Oh, never mind. All right, yeah.
Yeah, like they parked how it's got like that hill and the flag station's like up at the top of the hill on the inside of the corner. They brought the car up there somehow.
Yeah, I think they were having mechanical problems. I don't think that was like a crash or anything. So, would you say, because you've driven many of our cars, I think everything but Betty at this point, right?
Yes, unless you count Humps's BMW.
Oh, you didn't? You've never done Humps's BMW? I thought you did that at Pitt last year.
Anyway, you did run Humps's BMW at Thompson last year. I thought.
No.
I thought because we were doing a test to get you in it.
Yeah, it's like when I put my helmet on, I can't get into the car.
He made that car for his wife, who's like this big. So, so anyway, do you think the Cressida,
which is insane.
Yeah.
I've driven both our Civics, the Wartburg.
Obviously the Ombre.
The Ombre.
So is it a point and shoot? Is it a handling machine? Is it a power machine? Is it balanced? Is it like, is it a momentum car? Give us your thoughts.
It's incredible if you can drive it like a momentum car, because it doesn't have the torque that a high horsepower car would have.
Like the TR or
like the TR with the supercharger in it. Like you drive to the corner, you park because all the tires go all which way. You make your 3-point turn and you zip down the straightaway.
You can't see, and it's got manual steering, and every time you touch the throttle, the hood comes up.
That's the TR, everybody. That's what's talking about the TR.
The TR is meth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like the boat was just a riot because it was a truck with a boat wrapped around it.
Yeah.
And
I missed the
after
boat
a while.
The psychology of the boat, because people are like, oh, this thing's slow, I'm going to dive bomb it. No, you're not. Get the out of my way.
so the Cressida is pretty powerful down the straights, but you're saying that you drive it like a momentum car.
Yes.
Dave, Aaron, what's your take on that?
Aaron, go ahead. You've driven some other cars too. I'm the only one that hasn't driven anything but my own car.
All right, so next time we trade.
I've only driven one other car, and that was Bruce and Greg's Mustang and AER.
Okay.
And
that's another one I haven't driven.
And the Cortina. No, Jim's probably right. It likes being driven like a momentum car. It works very well that way, but it does have a decent amount of pull down the straightaways.
It absolutely does. Absolutely.
And it sounds so good.
Oh, I love the way
inline six, man. Nothing sounds as good as inline six.
Yeah.
Except it's so quiet that like if you stall it while I have my headphones in the helmet, I don't always notice.
Yeah.
Because I did
away with the earbuds and got the in-helmet speakers because I couldn't hear the car. Yeah, no, you're right. It's very much a momentum car. It would probably work wonders if we can cut like 200 pounds out of the car, including the driver.
Well, you're like 50 down. Let's not get excited, right?
No, I'm pretty much right where I was before
Were you?
all the cancer nonsense. Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm still a
Now-
fat bastard.
Now that he's
less.
done but now that he's done with cancer, he can work on that. You know,
It's true.
it was a point of pride. F you, cancer. I'm going right back to where I was before.
I'm trying to. The cancer's not technically completely gone. It never will be, but it's gone enough so I can go racing. So that's what
Yeah,
matters.
you still win.
Yeah.
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 I think I put on the Facebook, your spleen got smaller, but your ass is still big. So.
I have no ass. I mean, I need a boomerang to put on my belt, but I have no ass.
I got 2 quotes so far. Just drive the car. Shut up and drive the car. ... Aaron. And I need a boomerang to put on a belt.
But I got no ass. You have to put the but I got no
But I
ass
got no
after
ass.
that.
It's a backward crack. There's no ass.
All right.
All right, so
Very
Jim's
nice.
shift completes on Saturday. We're at like 4th mental.
No. So this is literally Jim's last hold on. He turned the car over on lap 167. On lap 162, he passes for position, puts the car in second. This is an area that I feel like the Civic is lacking, is your pit stops. You guys now, your next pit stop, full driver change. How much gas did you throw in it before you got in it, Dave?
About 16 gallons, I think.
Okay, so almost all of the gas. That's 3 jugs and then a little.
Suckers, right?
Yeah, okay, and then and a little on top of that. Your pit stop was 4 minutes and 6 seconds, and you guys fiddle with a cool suit that's in your trunk, don't you?
Not every we run. Well, we now used to run a 48 quart cooler, so we didn't have to fiddle with it during the day. We'd load that thing up with big chunks of ice and
now
not
we're
have to
learning
fiddle.
something now.
That's the normal practice. However, that comes to bite
It
us in
was
the ass.
it was hot. Holy crap, it was
Yes.
hot there this weekend. So you
Mental,
guys
what
got
lap was that? I'm catching up my data here.
167.
167. Go ahead.
All right, so you guys get the car back out the gate in 4 minutes and 6 seconds. Came in second. It's in third when Dave takes over, and it stays in third for 22 laps. Actually, I'm sorry, I take that back. Less than 20 laps. So like 18 laps. At lap 184, you put it back into second.
Mm-hmm.
And there it stays.
Yep.
Damn, your entire shift. Oh, you went back to third at one moment and fourth for a moment, but no, wait, I think that's tomorrow. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
it's
Sunday.
tomorrow.
Sorry.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
This is where Aaron's a jerk, because Chris and Chrissy were telling Aaron Dave was chasing down the leaders, which was FRS's ugly uncle.
Yeah.
He was on their tail. And Chris or Chrissy are going, are you going to tell Dave that's the leader? No, shut up and drive.
Shut up and drive.
And Dave comes in and goes, I wish you would have told me.
Well, that was the funny thing about with that. Aaron and I had the conversation. They were involved in an incident that happened under the bridge, and the driver at the time, I think his name was Chad, waved me up to him just for me to tell him how the back of his car looked, because he got tagged from behind, and then I proceeded to pass him, and then never saw him again. And that's why I was confused in the scoring. Like, how, was I behind them and then past them and not? So I'll have to actually go watch the video on it at some point and see.
Stuff happens.
Yeah.
The timing is not perfect.
Oh,
at all times. Yeah. So all right. So your shift. What happened? Anything go weird? Anything go? This sounds so drama free. And compared to last week, we're talking about getting blocked and, belt problems and, all this kind of business. Y'all we drove.
Yeah, we just drove. I mean, there's, we all have our less favorable cars to pass. There's some people that are just, some of the races.
Tough to get around.
Some are tough to get around. And, others are just great to race with. There's people that recognize their car and you trust them completely. But we just really just try to not step on our wiener. Don't stick your nose where it shouldn't be. And just get through your shift with no black flags. That's the main objective.
Get through your shift with no black flags. ...
Consistent lap
Uncle
times.
Dave. Yep.
That's brilliant. So on lap 256, you handed it over to Steve.
Mhm.
This is where I get really upset. So your pit stop was 2 minutes and 59 seconds. How much gas did you put in that car?
That
16
seems
gallons.
crazy. 16 gallons, yeah.
You're noticing a trend here. The drivers are getting smaller and smaller throughout.
Yes, that's
So-
actually part of it.
This is a strategy that somebody once told us that probably means exactly squat, but it's working. We start
'Cause
with the
the-
biggest
yeah.
driver first. That way, the next person in the car, all you have to do is tighten the belts.
Tighten the belts.
Next person in the car, all you have to do is tighten the belts.
Mm-hmm.
And when you
Steve-
guys are this consistent and this close, that's the delineator. You don't need a strong finisher. You don't need a strong starter because everyone's as good as anyone else. Yeah.
And Steve
So-
gets in the car, boy, do we have to tighten those belts.
It's very true. And Steve
Fair.
puts a pad in the car. Steve has a little
Yeah.
booster pad to move him forward like an
Because
inch.
our seat isn't on rails. Otherwise,
Right.
I don't fit in it. So
Mm-hmm.
Fair. So you guys pull in the pits in second place. Steve gets in the car. You pull back out in
Second place.
second.
How is that possible?
2 minutes, 59 seconds, 16 gallons. That's how it's possible. This is everything Hamza is trying to beat into us is move slow, move with purpose.
It helps that it's not in a hatch.
Yes. I don't know how you guys do that. I
Yeah,
watch you
it's-
guys.
it's not easy
go at
to
that.
fuel.
I
Pacific.
do 5-minute pit stops. That's how we do.
herpes
Exactly.
would be less painful.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, so we should mention the Cressida is running a stock tank. Nobody's listening from Lemons. If you are, turn off for a minute. Any modifications to the fuel neck?
No, hogging out. So
Yeah, just the legal one that you're allowed to
legal
take
one.
out that unleaded one. Yeah.
yeah, that's
That
it.
is specifically spelled out in the rules.
Yep.
Aaron, I think you froze on us. I don't know if you want to turn off your video and turn it back on.
I haven't been able to see you guys the whole time. So
No.
Okay, fair
that's
enough.
terrible.
All right. Well, if it's all good, the pose, you look like your normal self. Yeah.
yeah, fat and
Truth.
glorious.
So
And-
now Steve maintains.
now we got you.
Okay. Steve maintains consistent times. There's a couple of yellow flags there, but nothing big. He finds his way all the way up to fourth place, but then gets the car back down to second by lap 319. And there it stays until the end of the day.
And how many cars finish on the lead lap?
I don't remember.
3, yep. 2? Yeah,
No.
2, because
Oh,
we
no,
were
no,
third.
you're right. Yeah.
We were
Civic
third, and we
at
were
the
one
end.
back.
I was thinking we were fourth. Yeah. So basically, you and the nannies are the only cars on the lead lap.
FRS, I thought, was in first, weren't they?
Nope.
No,
Nannies.
they stepped on their wangs earlier in
you're
the
right.
day.
Yeah.
I think the nannies by the end of the day were back in the lead.
You're right, they were. I just looked at
Yeah.
my data here.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
here-
you,
so-
you
so
were
here we are.
exactly a minute and 5 seconds behind the nannies.
Uh,
And
Sounds
because
about right.
and because
they're
of the
in a
way the
turbo-
restart is,
yeah. They're in a turbocharged Audi S4,
Yeah.
which I want to say is 240 horsepower.
I was going to say 260, I thought.
Yeah, it's up there. It's
it-
at fire all weekend.
It pitch slaps us down the straightaway, but we can kind of catch it in the corners.
And they drive hard. I know that we have said great things and funny things and mess with the nannies a lot.
Drove the wheels right off it.
Absolutely, they drove the wheels right off it. But they are not bad drivers. They sometimes can be a little bit too aggressive, but whatever. That's what you got to do to win. People mention that.
No, it isn't.
You know what I mean. Yeah. So yeah, a minute 40 behind the eventual wheel losing Audi. Damn. In 100 and what horsepower?
I don't know, probably 170, 165,
170 170 when it was new.
Yeah.
Never been to a dyno?
Nope.
No.
Afraid of breaking.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
For the money.
A stock tank,
Yep.
170 horsepower,
Oh.
3,100 pounds dry.
No, it's like about, I think when I had it on a scale, it's about 2,700 or 2,800.
So yeah, with me it's just over 300 or 3,000.
3,000. Okay, I thought you said 33 with.
Yeah,
All
I think
right, I think he was joking. But
Oh,
yes.
okay, sorry.
All
So
right,
yeah,
this-
so not the lightest ballerina.
no.
It's got
And-
some wheelbase on it. It's got some length.
Yeah,
It's
and, like, as much as Aaron says that he's a big person, Dave and I are not small either.
no.
Steve is a twig. Steve
Yeah,
is
Steve.
a
Steve,
chihuahua
other than
here.
Steve, nobody's getting in that thing that is not going to shop at the adult section.
I couldn't fit Steve's fire suit over my leg.
Is Steve he's not a small person and he's
No.
heavier than he looks because he works out like a
He's
fiend.
muscly, yeah.
No,
He's
he is
all muscle.
Yeah, he is all him and Bruce are just friggin' wads of muscle. They're little fire plugs.
We call it wiry.
No,
If you
I'm
watch
wiry.
the YouTube video,
Steve is fucking stout.
if you watch the YouTube video, you might actually hear me yelling at him to eat a freaking cheeseburger.
Yeah, probably. So Saturday you're in second. You're a minute out. Dave, your team captain. You make the decision. Put two people in the car, and who's going to get in? How'd you make the decision?
Well, honestly, I looked at everybody's lap times like through the day. And like I said earlier, we were all so close. I don't think it really mattered. Aaron had the fastest lap time. Aaron hasn't been in 14 months. I definitely want him in. And honestly, Jim ran with us at New Hampshire last year when Aaron couldn't run. And that was the only race we ever had a DNF due to mechanical failures. And we burned up 2 diffs and Jim got screwed. So, and honestly, I've been very blessed with this car that of all the races we've run with it, I've gotten my stint, like my, my time, my seat time in every race. There's only one race that we left Aaron in at Thompson when we had that downpour because we could make it on fuel. And I said, just leave him in the car. So that's why I wanted to give Jim the seat time because he got hosed at New Hampshire. And I wasn't worried about the lap times because we were all very close. It didn't really make a difference in my opinion.
Great team decision, obviously. It's not easy for the car owner to say, you know what, I'm going to sit this one out.
It wasn't easy.
Because everybody, and this is just it, like people want to be in the seat when the win happens. Like
Racers want to race.
no, it doesn't matter what sport it is. The captain wants to be the quarterback when they're going down. Nobody wants to be on the bench when the defense wins the game.
Right.
Yeah.
So good team captaining. Tell us about Sunday. It's probably going to be a boring story. We drove the car.
Pretty much.
Sunday he started off. Actually, Mental told the story. Me talking to him because Dave had to have a sit down with me.
Oh yeah, this is news to me.
Yeah, I was a little unhappy with some of the blocking that was going on with the Civic, and you had to sit me down. You better keep your ass out of that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fine.
I said,
Fine. So
just run your race. Let them be. Let them go.
And so that's why I sat the Mental like, listen, I'll let you go when you're ready to go. I'll get out of your way because I'm just going to run my race. And that's pretty much all I did. I just took the green and went for it. I think I led probably 20 laps. The nannies stepped on their wangs again.
Yeah.
Oh, but before that happened, so Aaron goes to run his own race. The green flag drops. Anybody want to guess how many laps before Aaron got around him?
Oh, he was around him in the first lap.
Bingo, exactly.
He was around him in 100 yards.
laps.
I watched it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff and I were standing watching it, and
The green
the
flag flew,
green
and
flag goes.
I don't know what happened to the nannies. They were just not ready. I don't know if they missed that the green flag went, but everybody went around. I don't know if they were in the wrong gear. I don't know what happened, but they went immediately from leading the pack in first to like 8th or 9th.
But don't qualify. Also, those opening laps, Aaron threw down a couple of really sharp, like low 130s.
Of course, because he's
Had
a
a lot of
Cressida,
clean
and that's what the
track.
Cressida does.
I had
But
a
no,
lot
but
of clean
honestly,
track.
yeah, this is truth. There is tremendous benefit to being on the pole at a Lemons race because traffic management is probably the most important skill.
Mhm.
And the fastest the Civic has ever gone around the track was after a very long yellow when Chris was following with the straight out of Suncock guys, and there was nobody in front of them at Thompson.
Mhm.
And same thing with Aaron. He just said it. He was at the front. The guy in front of him missed a shift or something, shift missed, and you had a ton of open track, and you
Yep.
took advantage of it.
Yeah, Aaron basically beat him to the start-finish line.
But so did about 6 other cars behind him.
Right.
Well, that's
But
true.
Aaron was leading because he was the only other car on the lead lap.
Yes.
So even if he got passed, he was still leading the race.
Right.
Yeah, and
Oh,
the Silly Nanny's car was still in second, even though like 8 cars went by.
Yeah, absolutely.
I spent the first 5 laps looking up in the mirror waiting for Mental. I wondered where Mental went. I was like, where did everybody go?
Mental, how long did it take you to
Mental-
get around him?
It was a while.
Because you
actually,
had you had not turned any laps at Thompson in a long time.
a year.
A year, yeah.
In fact, the last time I was in the Civic was Thompson. So it'd been almost exactly 12 months.
I know you were given team orders to, gradually come up to speed.
Yes, exactly. Don't break the car. Don't step on your wiener. There's a car here on our podcast that manages to always consistently finish by adhering to those 2 rules. So that was our thing.
Yeah. But you
I-
did get around him eventually.
eventually, but this is what I want to come back to, is he mentions that the nanny stepped on their wiener, and a mere 40 laps later, Aaron is in what place? First.
Which
Yeah.
I had no idea about. I think I heard somebody say it over the radio, but I could barely make it out.
I don't think I got around you. You started in lap 340 something. I don't think I unwound that lap and got around you until lap 409. Or that might have been the nannies, but I think it was me. Because I got around
Maybe.
I got around the nannies twice. And I remember my little smart ass comment of, hey, you guys remember that time I passed the nannies twice in one stint?
Yeah.
You were doing like I did when I saw Momrath in the pits.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
but I got around the track. But again, so Aaron puts that car in first and second, and there it stays until he gives the car to Jim. Anyone want to guess how long your pit stop took you this friggin' time with 16 gallons of gas?
No idea.
3 minutes, 26 seconds.
That's unheard of.
And this is a closely knit, well communicated, and if you watch a Cressida pit stop, it moves efficiently, but it doesn't have this sense of speed, and it doesn't have a sense of chaos. It has a sense of organization and precision.
It's take your time, because if you screw up in pit lane, the penalty is a lot worse.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
Take your time. That's how we won Class B a couple years ago, was against Bazinga. We had a quick pit stop.
The
Another
Bazingas
fast
are
team.
not slouches at all.
No, Bazinga's quick.
They were catching us. They were faster than us. They had just gotten onto the same lap as us. Ray was driving. They came into the pits. We came in a lap later. We left before them. They were still fueling because they were using old jugs.
Was that in their 280?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that's and they still managed to screw up on pit lane because they got stopped at the end of pit lane. And Dale gave them hell for something. So
if Dale's mad at you, you've made a mistake.
Right. You've definitely stepped on your line.
We should mention that Bazinga ended up 5th in this race.
Yeah.
And was the first car out of the lead lap in their new R32Z. So
that's what a running Z looks like, Jeff.
yeah, I know. Very funny,
very nice.
mother.
So, Aaron, you brought the car in on lap 433. Yeah, the 3-minute, 26-second pit stop. Jim, you're in the car. You want to guess how long it took you to put it in first place?
I don't know. Probably until the leader pit came in.
It was like 2 laps, wasn't it?
2 laps.
Yeah,
He went out
when we picked.
Yeah, he went on a lap on 434. That was his first at speed. Well, he went out on 433. 434 was his first lap, and then in 435 he's in first.
Yeah, that was because we pit.
Yeah, because all the fast teams were pitting about that time.
He was
So
also
436.
consistently turning a 132s and 133s.
Well, I'm not saying he didn't pass us. I'm just saying.
So
Yes, quite well done. And then we start running into yellow flags and that sort of thing. Jim, you keep the car in 4th and 3rd until, and we've already talked about the drama to the last minute, but you stayed on the lead lap the entire time. And all of the videos that we show of us, because we're a very egocentric group of people, in every video of us, there's always a Cressida. The Cressida is like, it's there. It's right there.
yeah,
I talked about this, and Chris talked about this on Sunday. We both agree that was probably the drive of our careers. How do you feel? And actually, Aaron and Jim, how do you guys feel about your drive on Sunday?
Just a Tuesday. Oh, wasn't any good.
it's like driving to work.
It really was.
I don't know. Shut up and drive. I didn't do anything.
Yeah, shut up and drive. That's it. It was very I just went out to have fun, to be honest. Yeah, I wanted to stay up front, but I had a lot of racing to do to make up for a year. So that was it. Just go out and run a clean race. It was just any other race for me.
One of my favorite lines ever from South Park is when Cartman, it's like at the end of an episode and it's a tearjerker episode, and he goes, "I love you guys." And then there's like a moment of crickets and he goes, "Screw you guys." I'm going back and forth between "I love you guys," "Screw you guys" every 2 minutes in this damn story. I worked my ass off in that Civic. That has more horsepower, is lighter, outhandles everything on the track. Yeah, we just ran our race.
Yeah. It really, the only part that got hard was halfway through my shift, the cool shirt stopped working.
Oh, my cool shirt worked. Fuck.
Right.
Screw
Right.
you guys.
and that's where our mechanical black flag came from. Because
Absolutely.
Yes.
I should mention my part of the mechanical black flag.
It's totally your fault, Jeff.
Yep.
Totally my fault.
Jinxed us.
Hindsight
Absolutely.
2020. I helped him with it, so I can't really be mad at him for it.
I
Yeah.
followed orders.
No, you
Dave
did the right
said-
thing, Jeff.
Dave said, "Will you help? Will you drop in the water in the cooler?" And I said, "Sure, I've never done it before. Tell me how it works, blah, 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 blah." He gave me the instructions. And you said, "I think we're running out of water, so
Yeah, it was
pour it all
leaking.
in."
Yep.
So I poured it all in.
And I was thinking about Jim getting in the car for a whole stint without a the cool shirt. I was like,
Yeah, I appreciated the water, and it was working when I got out. So it
So,
was the right thing to do, I think.
We should mention that the reason that you fell to fourth was not because you got slow.
Mm-mm.
But tell us about the black flag.
So
Lap 445.
So I'm coming around. I go past start finish. There's a black flag waving, and I look up because it's not my number, but I always check, and it's a 71. I go diving through turn one. I get on the radio, guys. I think I stepped on my wiener. I stepped on our wiener here. I don't know what I did. Don't know what's going on. Got a black flag. Go around. You go through the bowl. Guys got black flag pointed at the car. Number board says 71. Like yep, that's it.
And everyone's going, does Jim even know where the penalty box is?
We should mention the Cressida is bright orange. It's got giant 71s on it in white. It is extremely. I think that's you, Jim, on the picture I'm sharing right there.
Yes.
You're the only black helmet, I think, right?
No, my helmet's black too.
Oh.
But I see the glasses.
I think they're wearing glasses. That must be Jim. But anyway.
I wear glasses too.
When you race? I thought you wore contacts when you race.
No.
Nope.
No, I think that's got the my helmet is the what is it?
HJC. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I'm over. I happen to be over by the judges. So I'm on the radio. I'm like, do not come in. Do not come in. I will check. So I go over and I'm like, I think Dave, you were like right behind me.
Yeah, I was right there. Yep.
And I was like, did you just black flag 71? Like, what happened? It's the leader of the race, right? I think they're leading. I think at that point we weren't sure where we were exactly.
Yeah.
At this point, it was too late. I was already pulling into the pit.
Well, Dave, to give your conversation with Rude and Company.
Yeah, so I talked to Eric and I told him, I said, I'm sure it's just the cool box, because prior to our pit stop, I spoke to Eric just to verify what we can and can't do on our pit stops with the cool box, because we don't normally ever have to add ice or anything to our cool shirt box.
Because it's 87 gallons.
Because it's like we're carrying around a 55-gallon drum in the trunk.
Because that doesn't add weight into the ass end of your car.
But we get 3 minute pit handling. Stop. It does.
It does drastic. Yeah.
So anyway, that's when Eric was like, have him stay out another lap. And what I called Jim right away, but he was already on pit road. And
I was at the end of pit road.
He was already at the end of pit road, so it was too late for that. So they were nice enough to let us come down in towards the penalty box. Manny and Eric went out to the car and touched the water on the ground, smelled it, said it's water, and they turned us right around and sent us back out.
Still cost you more laps than an average pit stop, because in the pit stops you're coming in and you're going out so quickly that you're barely losing a lap. Anyway, go ahead, Matthew.
So we got an email from Eric Rude, the corner worker that had called it in, and also Amanda's driver was calling it in. And it was just, hey man, don't let the Cheaty guys burn up, because it was, trying to keep it on the DL because everybody likes you guys. And the corner worker afterwards comes over, and Eric said he used this word, devastated, was absolutely apologetic and devastated because, oh my God, they were running up front. Oh, I'm the guy. And Jim sends back a really nice email of, hey man, I've been a corner worker. I know how it is. And you know what's worse than, losing first place? Burning alive.
Burning up and dying is definitely worse than finishing second.
So, absolutely.
So no bitterness, none of this kind of stuff. Just a world-class, all three of you guys were just, that kind of sucks. Oh, well, let's just go out and keep running.
I was a cranky bitch about it.
I'm glad to hear somebody's got some emotion in this damn team.
I was a cranky bitch about it. I got out of the car sweating my ass off, and now we're losing. Well, what is this crap?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was really upset. I mean, I felt
at
like it cost us a shot at the win. And
little did you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And honestly, the one thing that bothers me about it right now is I'm not, I would have loved to have been at the tail end behind the Solara that was behind Chris, and
all three would have came together. Yeah.
I could have seen that happen at the end. that would have been awesome. But chances are, if I'd been in that pack, the wheel would have bounced up, hit the Cressida, and taken it out.
Probably.
So
Yeah, but
I'm not
it's the
gonna. I don't want
Cressida.
to play
It,
what I.
totally, it would have kept going. It probably would have like taken the wheel and put it back on their car for them as it passed. You know,
You were
Listen,
only a turn or so behind. Did you see the nanny's car with the wheel off?
Yes, but they were. So the wheel comes off
At like
on the straight in the coming out of the
bowl,
in-
coming
in
straight to the ball.
yeah,
Or-
in the
And
Coming out
they
of the bowl, the
successfully negotiate that left turn on 3 wheels.
right.
well, it's
so
because
then
it was that side.
So I come around. I was probably a turn or two in front of them
When you cross
Right.
the line.
when the wheel fell off.
Oh, in
So I
front.
was right because I was what in.
Oh, 'cause you were like a lap
minute and
behind.
20 seconds back,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
And we're turning minute and 30-second laps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I'm probably like going up over the hill when the wheel falls. The hill for the straight when the wheel falls off.
Yeah.
So all I hear is Chris screaming. Yeah, like he's ecstatic. I'm like,
What the hell just
crashed.
happened?
no, I'm like the Audi fucking crashed. Right? You know, like the Audi
Oh.
did something stupid and crashed. You know, tried to do something, tried to block something and hit like a slow car or something. That's what I'm thinking. Chris is ecstatic. I'm like, yeah, awesome. You know, and I just.
But now you got to finish your lap. Yeah.
Now I got to finish my lap, right? Well, I also don't know it's the end of the race yet.
No, none of us knew.
True.
Like, I don't know the checker is out. So I go a couple more turns. Chris is screaming his head off. I can't understand anything on the radio. Couple more turns. I come up over, you know, finish my lap, and I'm coming around to start finish. I come up over the hill, and there's, you know, I start seeing, like, the white flags. Like, all right, you know, safety truck. I come up over the hill. There's 2 safety trucks. The Z is pushing the Audi, and I go blowing by. And I'm like, oh.
Oh, now I see.
I was like, oh, does that get me back to the lead lap? But like I said, I have no idea where Chris is. I don't know who's on the lead lap or anything.
You didn't know the checker was out at that point.
Well, then I saw the checker.
Then you saw the
obviously.
checker. Yeah.
See, you could have hit that Audi wheel and the car would have been fine. Matt hit a pile of tires with the Cressida,
That's
and it's
true.
still fine.
and it still runs.
And see, and I feel like that's the number 5 rule of the Cressida. You know, number 1, don't step on your wiener. You know, number 2 is momentum car, blah, blah, blah. But rule number 4 is don't touch your wiener while
Right.
driving.
While driving,
Yes,
absolutely.
No sticky shifters, please.
So the lap previous to the last lap, you ran a 1:35. Let me see here. I'm trying to see
Okay.
what Chris's second to last lap, which we already know was Superman, was 1:30. So yeah, you were probably 8 to 10 seconds
Ahead of him.
ahead
Ahead
on
of
the
that
on the
pack.
track, ahead of the track. So you know, if something would have gone wrong, if the wheel would have hit the Civic, if the Civic would have hit the uncle, FRS's ugly uncle, you weren't bridesmaids, you were brides, because
Yeah,
you were
like-
the only other car on the lead lap.
Yeah,
Bazinga
and-
Racing, one behind you, was an entire lap back.
Yeah,
Sounds
so,
about right.
So
But nonetheless, you were one of the hastily written in podiums. Oh shit, we gotta go redo all this.
So like without the mechanical black flag, and I love the fact that they got us in and out really quick. I love the fact that like they kept me from dying in a fire. You know,
But it
I
looks
would-
like it was a 3-minute plus lap instead of a minute 30 plus lap.
Right.
So it absolutely cost you what you lost the race by.
and I would have loved to have been at the tail end of that pack in there at the end.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I know
And
you're a recent
finishing-
listener because you
Finishing
only
third is fine.
because you only listened when we started watching on YouTube. Even though I'm your brother, That's okay. I'm not mad.
My brother doesn't listen. It's fine.
My brother takes the train to work.
No,
I'm
I
just
don't.
saying. You used
Corona,
to.
man.
You
I
used
walk
to.
from here to the other room.
I know. You used to take the train. There's no better time to listen to a podcast than when you're on a train. But anyway, we have
All right.
one rule. Mental, what is our rule? Perfect.
Oh, yes. Perfect just buys you the lottery ticket.
Perfect just buys you the lottery ticket.
It's really a philosophy rather
It's
than
a philosophy. You're right. It's a
Yeah.
philosophy. Perfect race in a car that is fast enough is only a lottery ticket to the win.
Mm-hmm.
We have bought
Yes.
that lottery ticket for a year and a half at least.
I would argue that Crescent has bought that lottery ticket more than we have just by being
Absolutely. Absolutely. We scratched it off and we happened to win last week.
Hmm.
You scratched it off and got a leaky
leaky cooler.
cooler.
Yep. Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, like the best finish we could have had was 1-2, and we got 1-3.
Yeah.
I mean, think
Truth.
about it that way.
Truth. Without a
Yeah.
doubt. And then
Um,
the nannies would have been blocking y'all.
That's what I think would have happened.
I would have gone
they
out
did.
and hit them. They did. That's true. I'm
So,
sure
like, I
they
came
did.
around
Somebody
on
got, you know the Godzilla's not the problem anymore, right? What? No, what? No one told me this.
So,
That's
like,
the-
I
that's
came
the
up
wrong
on the
accent.
Z. I came up on the Z one time. He was definitely cruising Sunday driving with the slow cars, and I blew past him. And there's like 3 orange cars on the track, right? Maybe 4, right? There's 4 orange cars in the entire race. I blow past him. I think he goes, "Oh, that was that orange car," because he takes off like a bat out of hell to catch me, and follows me for like a lap and a half.
Trying to
And
get in front of you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because they were going to
And-
block you.
probably because
Yeah.
we
We've
might
already
have been in the lead at that point.
Yeah, we've already mentioned that they were slowing down and waiting for the leader to catch them, and then hanging on their bumper, preferably their front bumper, and going hella slow. So, but anyway, we're not here to talk about the nannies. We did that last week. I'm over it.
I since I was like way far away and didn't see the final battle, I really enjoyed watching the videos as I was
Videos are
posting them.
fantastic. Yeah, yeah. And
That's,
by
all,
the
that's all I'm
way,
going to say about them.
shout out your YouTube channel so that everyone can see the entire section.
Yeah, it's Jay Wakeman, just JWAKEMEN
En,
on
everybody.
EN. Yes,
Ian,
Men,
on
we are
Yeah,
plural.
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 And while you're there, why not subscribe? Why not subscribe
That's
to
right.
the Everyone Racers channel? And again,
Yeah.
before you go to bed, just hit play all. This is all I'm saying. Turn the volume off. Most of you have smart TVs. You could do that on your smart
Oh,
TV.
that's a good idea.
yeah. There you go.
Around the horn, Dave, we'll start with you because you're the principal owner here. What's the next step? What's going to make the Cressida a minute and 40 seconds better? Are you at the pinnacle?
I think that mostly, honestly, a lot of the stuff that we do over the years is some out of necessity. And like right now, I'm looking at a couple of things to do before New Hampshire that are
To Jay-Z. I'm sorry.
No.
F your Jay-Z. I do actually, I'm not going to give it away. I do have a plan
And
for something.
Jeff has been preaching this for years, and they have
Sorry.
categorically rejected him and still finished in the top 10. So
I
yeah,
know.
listen to the mechanic, folks.
220 naturally aspirated horsepower could be yours.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
a 2 JZ, it's too heavy.
All right.
Go 1 UZ.
All right.
Go 1 UZ. It's lighter.
Oh.
Similar horsepower,
Ooh.
but it's all aluminum and it's lighter than a 2J.
All right.
And-
So
and
Aaron is
just
saying
right now, Donnie just got excited listening to that.
Yes, except that it's going to suck more
I lost
fuel
everybody. All right, that's good.
and we'll eat
It's-
brakes
Yeah. And
And-
tires.
and tires. And so then the car owner part of me says, yeah, we can't afford it.
well, I know that Chris, and we've lost Metzel's back. Chris has suggested that you might need a little more tire.
Yeah, I've talked to Chris about it, and again, it's another investment in wheels and tires.
Yeah.
I've talked about it. The car is actually really good in the rain. We've done really well at races where it's rained, and I think it's partly because of the tire. It's a narrower tire. We're only running what are we running? A 225 50 16s.
Yeah.
And
By the way, we run 225s on the Honda.
Well,
And the Honda is how much lighter?
yes, right. But you're running 17s. Yeah.
17s, yeah, sure. But you know
I
what I
think
mean?
also a lot of your success in the rain is you guys are categorically patient drivers. You don't get red misty, and you and Aaron both have a background in loss of traction. You're just, we don't need 100% traction. 80% is good enough. With the dirt track stuff.
Yeah, the Cressida is really good in the ring. It's really, really, it makes us look good.
Aaron and I actually don't have any dirt track background. We were around asphalt.
Well, your
tracks our whole life.
RCs, you were dirt, right?
Oh no,
No.
I'm sorry. I had it in my head you guys were circle guys, and I thought that was just.
Well,
yeah,
we
but
are,
not-
but it's
yeah.
paved oval,
I
33
did
degrees
not-
of banking.
My apologies. I
Yeah,
did
Wall
not know that.
Stadium
Okay.
paved.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah, all right. All
Yeah.
right.
The only RC dirt racing I did was some off road. I did do some dirt oval in RC, but that's like cheating compared to like actual dirt racing.
All right. So let's, Dave, you're still on the hot seat here.
Okay.
We've rejected bigger tires.
Well, yeah, it's mostly it. It's still
We've rejected the V8 that Aaron wants to put in.
I wouldn't say totally rejected, but yes.
Because again, Donnie is really happy to hear you talk about the V8.
So you have a plan, but what is the plan? Is it horsepower? Is it handling? Is it tire? Is it fuel?
None of your business, Jeff.
That's fine.
Well, I think for New Hampshire, we're not really going to be doing anything drastic.
Why would you?
Yeah, well, honestly, it's like Aaron said earlier. Every time we try to make the car faster, it ends up hurting us. We got to do something with the cool box. New Hampshire is not going to really be critical because it's generally 30 degrees. I do want to fix the door bars. The door bars in the car are straight, and they're literally under your armpit.
Yeah.
And
actually, I have noticed that.
Yeah, I've kind of gotten used to it, but I definitely want to do that, and I got to talk to Chris about that. I'm going to drag it down to his house when he does his next cage job and possibly do it. But like long term, I think tires is probably going to be the next step. Nothing really major.
All right. So Aaron wants horsepower. We already heard that. Jim, what do you think you would do to the Cressida? We'll go back to you, Aaron, if you have another thought, by the way.
I do.
I would stick a fuel cell in it. Get the 3-stop day down to 2.
What? We just did an episode on why that's a dumb idea.
How many gallons are you getting useful? How many gallons? When does
we
it
can
start
use them
fuel
all.
serve?
Really?
Almost all of them.
Yeah,
Huh.
it's like by the time you pack it, it's more than 18 gallons. We've run it to where it was starving, and filled it up at the pumps. I think it was in New Jersey. I ran in 2018. We ran it where it was starving, and I had to limp it around for the last few laps, and I got over 19 gallons into that tank by the time I topped it. Like really topped it off.
Huh.
Yeah,
We don't get 19 out of the Civic. We fuel starve before 9. And we have technically a 22 gallon cell. So.
Right. And that's what
Right.
Chris, I was talking to him about it. And he said, you don't get all 22 gallons out of a 22 gallon cell. Even
Nope.
if you had a 24 gallon, which the rules will allow, you're not going to get all 24.
Right. But I was just thinking if, you can get, 2.5 hours out of 16 gallons. If you get that up to 20, could you get a full 3?
Right.
Yeah. And we know that many of the East Coast races, 3 is the magic number because then on a 9-hour day, you get 2 stops.
Yeah.
And there are several 6-hour days where you can do 1 stop.
Right. And then the other thing I would look at, I think the spoiler's adjustable.
Mm-hmm.
Lay it back.
Maybe lay it back a little bit for places that have nice long straights.
Yeah, we've done that. We've played around with that. It doesn't seem to me. It doesn't really seem to make much of a difference. I was actually kicking around taking the spoiler off. Not to be honest, I feel like the car is a little too tight.
Yeah, like some arrow work
Oh.
might
The
help.
car's a little too tight, but it's only because we have 100 pounds of water and ice in the trunk.
Yeah, I felt like it was a little tight on, even without it.
In practice, she seemed a lot better.
Skippier, because you weren't running the cool
I don't know
suit.
right. Maybe I would try laying the spoiler back, but
all right, Aaron, give us your dreams. What do you want to do to the Cressida?
Oh, obviously the V8 it would be glorious, but I'm kind of with Dave on this because it's every time we've tried to make the car faster, she's literally put her foot up our ass.
We have a lot of non-car people who listen to this show. So you suggested 1UZ, which is a Lexus 4-liter V8.
4-liter V8.
4-liter V8.
It would be an easy swap for us. But realistically, I'm kind of on the a lot of it would be weight loss. Try to get some weight out of the car because she is heavy. Tire, and the rest of it, I think there'd be some improvement for some like driver education.
Absolutely. We are big proponents of driver education. I know, Jim, you recently did your second HPDE?
First one was track night. Well, third.
So
the first one was
but it had been
SCCA
years, right?
Many years ago in the 250,000-mile WRX. That's up on the wall back there, because that's me autocrossing it.
Or also, it's hidden in one of Aaron's buddies' houses someplace.
Yeah. So driver education can absolutely help. I know that I definitely got better by going to the track days and getting instruction. What's doing instruction right now with lead follow because of the coronavirus pandemic is maybe not as useful, but definitely track days are very helpful because we've talked about
teach.
Yeah, track days to teach. Yeah, not track days, just a track day, but an instructional track day. HPDE with the E as education. Very few times in a Lemons race do you get to actually play with doing the lines perfect.
True.
And getting that driver education with only the 12 cars or 15 cars in your group teaches you different skills that you end up using at a Lemons race. So yeah, track day for everybody.
I'm just looking at it. I'd like to get Chris in the right seat just to see what little more I could get out of the car consistently. I'm not looking to set the world on fire as far as lap times.
Yeah.
Most of the times I could care less about lap times. I just want to know what I can get to be more consistent lap to lap.
Well, and honestly what it is it's knowing how to go faster through that section of turns because it will set you up for the pass, even if you're going to now make that pass offline.
Right.
Faster down the straight is because you're doing 9, 10, 11 better.
Right.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Yeah, speaking of right seat, could you move the cool suit cooler forward?
Well, that's what the plan is.
Take it out of the trunk.
Yeah, it's got to be a
Get that
smaller
weight out
cooler.
of the back end.
It's got to be a smaller cooler though. That big, I've looked at moving that big ass cooler to the
the cooler's
front,
huge.
and it's like where it can fit is like hard to get to, like if you had to add water to it. So definitely gonna talk to Chris, and I'm gonna probably do the same thing he's talking about doing with the Civic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that I think that'll be good, because I did notice that the car handled better when the fuel load got lighter.
Yes.
When it had less weight back there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's about when I set my faster lap on Saturday, was once the fuel load started lightening up.
Yeah, I mean, and that's every single car is going to go faster when it's a little lighter.
Right, but that's more as far as rotating through the corners, because in practice on Friday, we didn't have the cooler in the trunk.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So putting all that weight in the trunk, she actually she lost a little bit of her turn in, I thought.
Hamza can correct me, or all the other engine nerds out there. Yes, I'm talking about you, Chris Egan. I believe you're suggesting that it had a lower polar moment without all of that weight behind the axle. I just wanted to say polar moment. I really actually.
Sure.
Whereas Jeff uses a term he doesn't understand on the
Yeah,
I
show.
understand
that's what I was
polar
gonna
moment.
Right.
Where's my stick? I'll spin it right
Where's
now.
Jeff tells a story that goes nowhere?
That's mental.
Mine actually says mental.
Shucks.
And,
Oh,
and,
darn.
and if he actually tells that story, I get bingo.
I'm gonna describe polar moment. Never mind. We're not gonna.
Never mind.
The show is long.
Extremely long.
Yes.
Anything else? Sum it up for us. Somebody from the Cressida group.
I don't know. Sum it up.
Don't step on your wiener.
Don't step on your wiener. Have fun. That's honestly our main objective is to run all day and run every day. Because if all the races that we've run, there's only twice that we've had like DNFs where we didn't finish, and only one time was a mechanical failure. And
that mechanical failure was like an overheating differential, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's not even
it-
something that was normal or could
it
be
was
predicted.
a changed differential, and it ran too hot, cooked the oil in it. We put a unknown spare in for the next, for the afternoon, and then the next day, and it pretty much did the same thing. So I added a diff cooler to it before this race, and I put a gauge in it as well, so that way we could see what it was
cooler
doing.
temperature gauge. Wow,
Yes.
that's
That's-
special.
Yeah.
That's how easy the
overkill.
Cressida is to drive. Part of my shift Saturday, I was experimenting with blower on versus blower off, watching the gauge, as opposed to paying attention to what I was doing.
I love you guys.
love
Screw you guys.
For you guys, I'm going home.
Yeah.
Mental.
All right.
What do we got left in the show? I'm lost and dazed and confused.
All
in
right.
my-
So we're this is our little thing. Jim doesn't listen. I think Aaron.
Hey, I watch on YouTube now.
I think Aaron might, and occasionally Uncle Dave
I
pays
do.
attention. But it's called On the Spot, and it's I'm going to ask you a question. You get one answer, and humility off on this one. Feel free to answer the question immediately what comes to mind. But we talked about this last week. The pointy end of the field is getting very pointy, and there are just some really great teams that run well. Bazinga, the Johnson's Toyota guys, all of those teams. So who's due for a win? And stick with the East Coast teams that you know. And that's why I say turn the humility off. Who's due for an overall now?
Me.
Bam. All right. So Aaron just comes straight out of the gate.
Humility off. Me.
Me.
Cressida's got it, and I don't think you're going to find any objections.
No, because you didn't object last week when somebody brought it up.
No, I did. Dave, Jim.
Jim, good.
Oh, that's a tough one. No, really, because I listened last week. It's not fair. I watched this show on YouTube. Remember? So I mean, you guys had great ideas, and I'm trying to think of one that's not one of those.
Nobody said Civic is a repeat.
Yeah, no, because they all know us.
Well, no, I think you guys have pushed that to the edge, that if you tried to repeat, especially twice in 1 year, it would blow up.
Yeah.
I think
Or-
you guys have a
or we
little
would
refining to do
yeah.
before you can get the repeat. It's not really that hard to do. You guys just got to get that fuel burn under
The
control.
fuel burn. There's something going on with the fuel burn.
Yeah.
We're definitely going to work on
Yeah.
that. If Chris was here, he could tell us because I know he's been working on it. We'll have to wait till next week to hear about that.
Well, I know some of that fuel burn was externally motivated, but still.
Yeah, it's.
All right. So I got.
All right,
do I have-
who's
So
going
can
to
I
win?
say the Z that's in Jeff's yard?
Yes.
If it gets to the
Yes.
track, it's a win.
Wow.
It
Jim
could win.
Forgoes all of his mathematical training and goes for the
Listen.
unicorn wish.
Jeff's
Yeah,
lawnmower
it's
is
kind of the
beating
unicorn
fucking
win.
Z already.
That's true.
I am very impressed with Bazinga and what they're doing with that chassis, and I
Yeah.
think a 4.8 liter
Now.
LS could do something in that car.
No
Now.
doubt. All right. So I got 2 votes for the Cressida and 1 vote for the Z.
I actually think the Z would pull it off before the Z actually runs well enough.
Uh,
I
you know,
was gonna.
Go ahead, Dave.
No, I was gonna say I was
Hey.
holding off because I was gonna say I think the Civic's got a shot at a repeat because the pressure's off now. You guys aren't gonna try, and that's when it's gonna come.
That's
When
true.
you
Yeah,
all
that's
these years
not
you
a
guys
bad
trying, all these years you guys trying, you're trying so hard, and stuff happens, whether it's self-inflicted or a wire in a tire, whatever. Now you're gonna go out there and just run. And
So
you're
if
gonna
we had-
you're just gonna shut up and drive, and at the end of the
Right.
day, that car's gonna be up front as long
So
as
if we adopt
nothing
a
happens.
Cressida mentality
Right.
to our
That's
driving.
see, we've only done as well as we have because we weren't trying.
We're just trying to
If-
run.
If we were actually trying, there'd be boot prints on our wieners, left and right.
This is why we love Uncle Dave. All right.
So, do you remember when we were down in CMP and like we just were not trying with the Cressida and they finished 9th or something? And it was
Where,
like we took
Road
extra.
Atlanta?
Was it Road Atlanta? I thought it was
Yeah,
CMP.
we've never been to
We've-
CMP with the.
Oh.
Yeah,
Leo
we've
And it
never
was-
been.
Atlanta.
And like it was like everybody drives on Sunday. We had like 6 driverships and finished 9th. With you guys finished 9th with that car. I wasn't part of it, so I can't. Say, I don't want to say we. But I mean, it was
That's
fantastic.
yeah. That's valid. All right.
All right, so I guess we'll
guys,
go ahead.
we love you.
Yeah.
We talked about some, we joke
love
about
you
bad
guys,
blood.
too.
I know. No, we joke about bad blood and stuff like that, but I think it falls into the overarching concept of finding what matters inside the turmoil, and I think that applies to everyone's life right now. I don't feel like it's a good weekend if I don't get Uncle Dave and Aaron around. Yeah, I missed the hell out of you last year, so it's always just fun having you guys around, and thank you so much for being on the show, and thanks for coming out and being part of the team.
Does anybody have anything to plug? Anybody got a social media account or no?
No,
I don't have
No.
anything to plug.
don't follow me. I stink.
Monday nights.
Ray,
Monday nights.
race with us on Mondays.
Yes,
There it
race
is.
on Mondays, Ewanor.
Yes.
Oh,
What-
man.
Don't
What's
even
the
have a
password,
computer.
Jeff?
It's our favorite breaks.
Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, there you go.
Damn, so close to bingo. Damn.
We can't say it. You had to tell us. You can ask me what my favorite breaks are.
What are your favorite breaks, Jeff?
ST43 by Ray Bestas. There, bingo. Say it.
Nope, didn't get it.
No. Oh,
Yeah.
No, I got a bad card.
I don't even play anymore because I'm just so horrible at it.
I have a lot
Let's-
of cursing Chrissy on mine.
Yeah, it's not helpful. Let's get to the end of it. Thank you for downloading us. And thank you for joining us, Cressida crew. We didn't get a chance to have the dishwashing fairy Steve on because I'm not sure he knows how to use a computer. I don't know. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building because everyone can be a winner. A race winner, especially if you're as chillax as these guys. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It is totally free. Or if you're in YouTube land, wait, I got to point this way.
Which
it's
way?
Gonna be in the upper, how this plays out. It's
I
gonna
You
be
got to
on the
point
right.
more up.
I
Because-
whatever. It's
Well,
there.
depend-
Upper right. It's there. Yeah.
If
Point
I
it
don't
this way.
talk quick, it won't be there because it won't be there until we're done. If
40
you enjoyed
seconds.
this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating. Even if you hate us, give us 5 stars. Tell us why. Push play on the YouTube channel and then go to bed. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram or Twitters at everyone.racers. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless there is no shiny side, then just keep those green wheels. Why does the Crescent have green wheels?
They were
Because
cheap.
they were on sale.
No, you didn't paint them. They actually came green.
They were on sale, clearance.
Because
It-
green.
All right. Keep the green wheels down. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.